Summon Sign is brought to you by you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 35 of Summon Sign, Last Stand Media's weekly in-depth gaming discussion podcast. I'm your host, as always, Brad Ellison. Joining me this week is Micah Moriarty. Micah, how are you? Long time no see for us. We just recorded yesterday for Punching Up, but we're back once again.
Yeah, I happy to be here. When Chris joined the room earlier, he hit us with like a hey. And it just reminded me exactly. Well, back in high school, I used to always do hey, it's Fat Micah. And like that was just a thing we did. I had completely forgotten that. This is a memory that had just been like completely gone. And now it's back. And I'm just remembering how many times I walked into a classroom and did the Fat Micah bit. And then I just realized, man, we haven't talked about Fat Albert in a long time. For obvious reasons, but I miss Fat Albert. I liked Fat Albert. All right. Forget Bill Cosby. I liked Fat Albert.
The last time that I remember hearing hey was when Bill Cosby was coming out of one of his trials.
Oh my God, yes.
And he said it to like the camera people.
It's so good, yeah.
Oh man. Insane. I mean, I saw the Fat Albert movie in theaters when I was a child. I loved that movie.
Shit.
Is that the one with Kenan Thompson where he crawls out of the TV like a cryptid?
I believe so.
Oh, was it live action?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember this.
That was back when they were doing like live action. It was like live action Garfield as well.
Yes.
And
holy shit, this looks insane.
It's crazy.
Wow. Micah, did you do the voice for Fat Micah?
I did, yes.
Okay, let's hear it. It's been a while.
No, I mean, it's not good, but it'd be like, hey, it's Fat Micah.
Wow, that's good.
I feel like your impression of Fat Albert sends your voice higher somehow.
The normal Micah? Yeah.
Yeah, the normal
You
Micah.
go up an octave when you do it.
Yeah, that was the Fat Micah, and bless my teachers, because they heard that so many times. I don't know. Nobody ever told me to stop doing it, but I did that endlessly. That was the daily greeting.
Yeah, I mean, kids are cringe, Micah. Don't worry about it. Those teachers are used to all that dumb shit, probably.
They're inoculated.
That's probably very wholesome compared to what they've heard from other kids.
That's true. Realistic. That's true.
And of course, Chris, we didn't even introduce you. We just got you right in there. How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. I totally fucked myself though, because like I had a weird night where I was just like really absorbed in my Steam Deck, and then I looked at the clock and I was like, oh, it's 3 a.m. Shit.
Oh no, dude.
I'm operating on like a weird, like I have like some coffee in me, but not a lot. I had like a piece of bread for breakfast. It's not really. It's a rough day, I think, but it'll be fine. I've got some leftovers. I made some chicken parm yesterday. I'm gonna heat some of that up for lunch. So.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, got stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, before we get into the show, please check us out on patreon.com/lastdaymedia if you'd like to support us. We greatly appreciate it. $5 and up gets you early access to this show and all of our other shows as well, and as well as Sacred Symbols Plus and some exclusive ones every now and then as well. So keep an eye out for that. Leave us a rating in your podcast service of choice, a good one. If you enjoy the show, we appreciate it. Merch at laststandmedia.store if you want to buy some sweet merch over there. And our live show's coming up. About 2 weeks away, or a little less than 2 weeks away, in San Diego. Sacred Boys versus the Dukes. If you want to get tickets, go to bit.ly/Sacred Dukes. It's going to be a good time. I will be hosting, I believe, like last time, and I've seen some of the stuff we're going to be doing. Oh boy. Get ready.
Man.
Chris, we're going to make you drink Micah's ketchup milkshake, so get ready for that. It's going to be fun.
That almost made me puke, actually.
Oh, no. Well, you know what, son? Don't worry, because we got a peanut butter and onion sandwich to calm you down after.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ almighty.
That is unhinged.
And that's not a real thing I eat, though. I got to be very clear. That's not a real thing I've eaten.
Peanut butter and onion?
That's just a meme. Yeah.
Yeah,
it sounds delicious, but
for 1 second.
Man, that's distressing because I don't think I've ever heard you clarify like, oh, that's just a joke, which means like everything up until now has been real, which is like even more dissettling.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because like the hot lettuce is real. I did put ketchup in my milk as a child. That's real. This is just my life. Everybody's always like, oh, Mike is just always trolling. And it's like, I'm just talking about my life. I'm just up here just talking about my day. And then everybody's thinking it's some master troll at work.
No, that's just Micah. You called him son. I totally forgot, Chris. Colin calls you his son. When did this start?
Right. I really have no idea. I think it's just because I'm significantly shorter than him, so in photos it looks like a family photo, like where the mom just left. So I think it was just. I wish I could remember exactly because there must have been like a point where like somebody wrote in, whereas like how's your son doing or something, but like it was probably so long ago at this point that the origins of that is lost to time. That's why we need a historian. You know?
Yeah, we do need a historian. That's true. Wait, so Colin calls Dustin his son also. Is he saying that Dustin is also short?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean,
okay.
I mean, that's just true. Like we're both.
I mean, it's just true. Yeah, some people are sensitive about it, though.
I don't know. I if I was still sensitive about that today, I would probably be dead by now. Like there's no shot. Like how are you gonna?
That's true. You lived through it. You've been through it all.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, we're short. It's fine. Yeah, but the photos are funny though. The photos are of us at like the I think it was the Pennsylvania, the Butler, Pennsylvania one is so funny because it does look like a family photo.
Damn, that's awesome. So, Micah, you call him son as well, then I guess.
Oh well, I also call a lot of people that like our nephews. I'll always be like, "How's it going, son?" Like I just call people that as well. Just in my general life. But it feels right. You know, I'm the stepmom in this situation type deal. You know, I swooped in. Yeah, the original mom, whoever she was, she's gone. And now I'm in the mix. So Dustin and Chris are my stepsons. You know, it's a weird family dynamic we got going here. We're all the same height. You know, us three. So
that's true.
We're on equal footing here.
You're like it's like when they replaced Aunt Viv on Fresh Prince, and they just kind of went with it, even though it was a completely different person.
I got a conspiracy theory for you guys. All right, HSN, Home Shopping Network. All right. There was this guy who sold cleaning products, Professor Amos. And I swear to God that they just replaced him one day with a different guy and never said anything about it. Because I was like, that's not the same guy. I'm watching it. And I was like, that's not him. And they're like, this is Professor Amos. And I'm like, it's not him. They've never acknowledged it. I swear to God, it's a different guy. I don't know if anyone else has ever noticed, but I'm pretty sure they just switched him out with a different black guy. And I was like, all right, I guess they're because it was just this old black man, this nice old black man, kind of like Al Roker-esque, and he was selling cleaning products. And then they switched him out for a different guy. I swear.
Are you
sure? Why did they just make him a new guy?
Yeah, every image I'm seeing of this guy looks the same. You know,
this happened about 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh.
For context, this happened back at like a while ago, and I just remember thinking like that's not him, and I just remember thinking there's like my Matrix moment.
They were gaslighting you.
Yeah, was it like a different? So when you say it was a different, was it like a different demographic? Like was it like a younger? Was it like his son or something?
No, like they introduced him as Professor Amos, and like he definitely looked slightly younger. And it was just like, this is just not the same guy, but like, Professor Amos, tell us about your products. And it's like, and he's doing the whole like bit where he's like, well, and he's like, has this whole thing he does. And I was like, wait, like, that's not him though. And he always used the word saponifies, and he's using the word all the time. I'm like, he's trying to be Professor Amos, but that's not him. All right. I'm convinced that it's not him.
It's bizarro Professor Amos.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like Blue's Clues, and they got rid of Steve. They just had some new guy, but he was like a new guy though. At least he wasn't trying to be Steve.
They're trying to do like an Orville Redenbacher, like we don't see. But that's clearly not. That's not the original Orville Redenbacher. You joking?
Yeah. Yeah. Or the Bush's baked bean dog, it died. And then they just started using a CG dog. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. All right. I can tell it's a fake dog. Okay.
Like,
you could have at least adopted a new dog.
Right.
Just get a new one.
It should be like a title that you carry on.
Yeah, the Bush baked beans dog. It's a mantle. It's a mantle of responsibility that gets passed on from generation to generation.
Oh, dude, I wish I had the stuffed animal here. It's in my garage, but I have one.
Of a Bush's baked bean dog?
Yeah, and he's wearing a little t-shirt.
I just...
Chaos. Let's see. Teeth Mummy wrote in, Brad, last week you mentioned Taco Bell. Enlighten me. What's your go-to order? Or go-to TV order? For me, it's cheesy gordita crunch, chicken chalupa supreme, and chicken quesadilla. No soda for me because I don't like sugary drinks. Water is fine. What's your go-to on those nights when you've earned the calories with a good workout and maybe a nice little edible to heighten the meal? Thanks, and I'll hang up and listen. All right, Taco Bell orders. First of all, Mike, do they have Taco Bell where you are?
Oh, yeah, I don't like it though. Like I've been to Taco Bell probably like 3 times in my entire life. It's fine.
It's fine.
But it makes me feel terrible. Like I've had chronic like heartburn since I was 19. And so like the last time I had Taco Bell, I was probably like 24. And it was just like I had heartburn for a week after. I was like, you can't do this. It's not that good in the first place. It was only $5 worth of food. And you just feel like shit for a week. So I'm off of Taco Bell forever.
That's fair. Chris, what about you? Are you into Taco Bell?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't used to be because on the East Coast, there's just no good Taco Bell. I remember having Taco Bell like various points throughout my childhood and being like, this shit blows, dude. Mm-hmm. This is like, what's the point of this? And then you come over to the West Coast and it's like, oh, okay. All right. There's something here. But at that point, you're like, why wouldn't you just go to like a real, like a taco stand or something like that?
Yeah, sure.
But generally, it's like a chicken quesadilla max. Like I don't go crazy with it. I feel like the whenever you're getting something that's like as processed as fast food is, you want to keep it as simple as possible. I don't want like something loaded up with all sorts of shit. I've had the Crunchwrap Supreme. I've had all that. I remember taking an edible once and eating so much Taco Bell. It was insane.
Oh yeah.
But it's usually like 2 chicken quesadillas and I'm good. It's
simple.
simple.
2.
Yeah. I'm a hungry boy.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
I used to get 4, and then I remember being like, "This is too egregious."
That's a lot of quesadilla.
Yeah, there would always be like 1 left, and I'd be like, do I put it in the fridge and like heat it up the next day? And I'm like, but that's gonna be terrible. Like a reheated up chicken quesadilla from Taco Bell.
A reheated quesadilla is perfection. I got one in the fridge right now from Chipotle.
No. Well, Chipotle makes quesadillas?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to order on the app, though. I don't think you can order it in person. It says online only.
I've never even thought about that possibility. Like,
it's really good. It's my favorite thing to get at Chippers now when we go. And we had Chippers last night. Yeah.
It's the most fucking... the most gentrified way you could possibly talk about a Chipotle, which in and of itself is a gentrified Mexican place. But, man, that really threw me off. What were we talking about?
Taco Bell.
You had quesadillas in the fridge.
4 quesadillas.
Yeah. I used to. Yeah. I don't know. I tried to. That was when I was trying to gain weight. In fairness, I was just trying to like
makes
put
total
pounds
sense.
on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's usually like 2 now. 2 will fill me up. That's like a good like solid meal.
Yeah.
But I don't really get it much anymore, especially since the one that's like really close by me closes before midnight now. So I don't really know what that's about. I don't know if they're fucking renovating or something, but it's like, I'm not getting... Taco Bell is like 2 a.m. You know what I mean? When there's nothing else.
Yeah. It's usually not first choice.
Sure. I'm not getting Taco Bell at like 3:30 in the afternoon. It's never happened.
Let's see. For me, I do like the cheesy gordita crunch. That is good. Chris, I also like the cheese quesadilla or the chicken one. I like a lot. I don't get the sauce in it though. Whatever they're fucking.
Yeah, I don't do the
sauce.
Yeah, I don't do this. I just do the chicken quesadilla, and that's fine enough for me.
Yeah, and usually like a taco, maybe. That's about it. Fire sauce. That's the way to do it. I don't know. Do you like Del more, Chris, or do you like Taco Bell more?
Oh, you mean like Del Taco or Taco Bell?
Yeah.
I think Taco Bell I like more just because like they feel like they're more committed to what their bit is. Like Del Taco feels confused. Like Del Taco seems like it's trying to do too much. Like I go to Del Taco and they're like, we got fries. And I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, man. It would be like going to like a Pizza Hut. It's like whenever I go to a pizza place and they have wings, it's like I'm not necessarily opposed to the idea, but at the same time, it kind of
throws you off.
It's a little, you're at the beginning of like the little snowball before something becomes like a Cheesecake Factory where you're just like, we have pasta and ice cream and cake and pie and lasagna and pad thai and fucking whatever. And it's just like, all right,
whatever you want.
At that point, it's just like there's too much to really like focus on the thing that you want to do. Because, dude, there's some pizza places that just do pizza and they're terrible at that. You know? So, like, I don't even understand like why you would even expand at that point. But yeah.
Taco Bell HQ is like right by me. And a long time ago, I used to actually do taste tests there for them.
Really?
I taste tested. I remember they had coffee, like iced coffee, and it was really fucking good. And they never came out with it.
Oh no, that's the worst.
Fuck. Yeah, they have like experimental Taco Bells by me, like the Taco Bell Cantina. It's like a more fancy Taco Bell and stuff like that. It's very bizarre. It's like Demolition Man Taco Bell. Well,
that's awesome.
Not quite that steep, but yeah, they get fucking wild out here.
Yeah, I think I was invited to do one of those, but I just I think it was like in New York at the time, so I was like, I can't go. But like, yeah, they do like taste tests.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to do that, just because it seems like a weird experience to do a taste test.
It's super weird, dude. They're like, here, eat this taco. Here's $200. Thank you. You're like, okay, cool.
That's awesome.
All right. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been doing everyone's GOTYs over the last decade. So now it's Micah and Chris's turn. We're going to go through each year from 2014 to 2024. And each of you are going to list your GOTY, but we'll do year by year. Micah, let's start with you. 2014. What was your GOTY that year?
This was a really tough choice because I was torn between Child of Light or Titanfall. Ooh. I'm going to go with Titanfall because it was just, that game was huge for me. Mm-hmm. I love robots. I especially love Transformers. And Titanfall was just like, oh my God. I mean, for someone like me who loves multiplayer, online shooters, loves big robots, like this was an incredible experience. I remember the first time I played it just being like, I'm fucking hooked. I should have worn my Titanfall shirt today. Didn't think about it. Didn't cross my mind. But I loved that game for everything it was. Did not like the sequel. That's it's too bad.
What?
But Titanfall
Did you not like
1,
the multiplayer of the sequel? Did you play the campaign?
No, I didn't like the campaign. I didn't want it.
Oh my God.
I was like, I want multiplayer only. What are you people doing now? All right. Like, just what's going on here? You know, like, I just didn't want this. I do not want this.
Oh man, this is ketchup in the milkshake, man. This is ketchup in the milkshake.
Call of Duty.
Jesus
brain.
Christ.
But Titanfall 1 was exquisite, and I adored that game. And yeah, like very fond memories playing it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Titanfall 1's sick. I had a good time with that as well. Chris, I assumed you played it as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I loved Titanfall and Titanfall 2. I think that year was weird. That was like kind of like a weak-ish year, kind of, outside of like something like I like Child of Light too. I totally forgot that it was even 2014. But yeah, it was a toss-up for me between Sunset Overdrive was like a standout that year for me.
Yeah.
But I think I have to go where my heart is. And I know that this is, maybe controversial, but for me, it has to be Destiny,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like, I think eventually that got where it's supposed to go. It didn't start off great, but even in 2014 with the Vault of Glass, like I remember there was something really special about that. And that coalesced my entire friend group from like middle school back into regulars in my life. So probably the biggest game of that year for me, no question. Even if I think Sunset Overdrive probably ekes it out as like a fun, kind of one-off game. I think Destiny is my 2014 pick.
Yeah, I mean, Destiny when it came out was quite a moment. Everyone was playing it. It was really fun at the time. Even when there was like, the very beginning wasn't amazing, but
yeah,
I had a ton of fun. Like doing Volta Glass was really fun the first time.
Yeah, I think I missed that era of mystery about what Destiny was. Like nobody was sure what it was, and everybody was trying to figure out what the hell. Like nobody knew like the meta. Nobody knew like where to go for everything. There wasn't like a guide on YouTube the day after a weapon comes out to like know exactly like what is what, or what's the thing to get, or like how to get from here to here. It was all like uncharted territory, and I do miss that feeling of everybody being completely lost in this thing that nobody understood. Now it's like, you know, I have a fondness for Destiny, but now it's like the day after a patch goes live. It's, you know, Aztec Cross and, you know, all these great content creators who I like a lot, but like it's already like, this is the best gun. This is the best build. These are the best aspects to pick for this build. If you want to do this, do that. Go talk to this person. Skip this. And it's like, oh man, it's all.
Yeah.
Everything's understood
immediately.
Yeah.
All right, Micah, 2015.
I was going to say real quick that Destiny 1 was the only one I liked because I really liked the campaign and I loved Dinklebot, but I just can't stand by Destiny slander. Destiny that's the best one they ever made, Chris. It never got better.
Right.
2015, I put The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I mean,
yeah.
Christ almighty, I fucking love The Witcher 3 so much. It got me reading the guy's books, not just the Witcher series, but the other books that he wrote as well. Like, I just became a really big fan. I have all my Witcher stuff in my office. That game, it's like really got me into, sword and magic type stuff. I previously had never played something like that before. And that was like, oh man, I really like this. I had very little exposure, like when I was younger, to anything related to like elves and whatnot, elves and orcs and all that stuff. Like this wasn't things that we interacted with. And getting into The Witcher just completely opened up a whole new world of interest to me. And so, yeah, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, just fantastic game that I had to actually go back and check my achievements because I was like, did I play it like release year? And I did. I played it like in December. So I was like, okay, it counts. It counts because it definitely would be my favorite game released that year. But I did have to go and make sure I was correct that I did play it around release. It's just, I mean, I've played it since like 3 times. I just love that game so much. And I went back and played Witcher 2 as well, which was also really fun and cool to get into. I'll keep hoping for a remake of the first game. But yeah, Witcher 3
I think
Wild
they're doing that.
Yeah, they said it. But where is it, Bradley? Where is it?
It's just it's CD Projekt Red. It's just going to take a long time.
I know. I'm going to be like 50 years old by the time we actually get it. And it's like,
and it'll be broken or something. Some sort of drama surrounding it.
Oh, it's definitely going to be broken. Yeah.
All right, Chris, 2015.
Yeah, 2015. That's another interesting year. I'm gonna go with Metal Gear Solid 5, which I know is also a weird choice, but I don't know, man. Like I remember, it's weird because I remember playing that game when it was new and being like, I don't know if I get it. I don't know if this is really clicking. And then I played it again, like actually when I got my Steam Deck as like a Steam Deck game. And it like completely blew the doors off that game for me. I was just like, oh my God, this is so good. Like whatever this is really, really solid. It's not, it's not like traditional Metal Gear in any way, but I also feel like as a stealth sandbox, it's one of the strongest stealth sandbox that exists. I also love the meta narrative that's going on. The real story is kind of like, it's in the background. It keeps you going, but it's not necessarily the point for me. I think the most interesting thing about it is like that weird meta narrative that it kind of sucks you into whenever you're like, when you're stealing enemy soldiers, you're like surveying them, you're sending them out to do missions so you could unlock, better equipment for your solo missions. And there's a really clever meta narrative there about, chasing the highs of like high scores and like better gear for like video game reasons, and also just the idea of how that aligns with the goals of somebody who would be running a military, where they see like, I'm just gonna take this NPC and send them out to die, and then they'll die off screen, and I don't care. Like, did they get me my gun? Like, I love that it gets you thinking that way because it's, I don't know, Kojima's interesting, and I think Metal Gear Solid 5 is like somewhat underappreciated. As far as like what it does and how clever it is. because I think people focus mainly on like, oh, this main narrative isn't Metal Gear the way I understand it. And it's like, yeah, it's not. But like, I don't know, man. There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of special things about that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of great things with that game. It's just not finished. The game.
Oh, clearly, yeah. Yeah.
You're just like, oh. But it is a lot of fun. The gameplay is great in it, no doubt. All right. Micah, 2016.
Oh, yeah, 2016 Overwatch. I was so big into Overwatch. I was a Symmetra main. She was my favorite until they fucked it all up. And then I stopped playing. So I was like, she doesn't play the same anymore. And I know that's how those games work. All right. They nerf your favorite character a couple times. And it's just like, well, this sucks now. Pick a new one. And I said, no. No. You think I'm going back to Roadhog after I finally mastered Symmetra? You think I'm going back to that? I just finally gave up on it after a while. But Overwatch was... I adored that game. It was, to me, completely unique and interesting. The bright colors, the like different map design, the different like mission types to do. This was for me like a completely new way to play games online, and I was hooked on it like from the minute it started. I didn't understand though, and still kind of don't, like when online games have like seasons to them, like Call of Duty doing this whole like seasons thing. I don't get into it, the battle passes and all that. I'm like, just put me in team deathmatch and I'll play it. But Overwatch was huge for me. I never got into Overwatch 2. I was kind of like, we had our moment, it's done, don't get back with an X or whatever. But I did love Overwatch when it first came out. And that game was like, just a lot of really fun online memories for me.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon when it came out. I also loved Overwatch 1 when it came out. It was so good, so special. Chris, did you enjoy Overwatch 1 when it launched?
Yeah, I played it a little bit. I didn't get super into the hero shooter thing though, honestly. Like I think I played maybe no more than like 30 hours probably cumulatively, like from 2016 to now of Overwatch. And like I liked it reasonably enough. I liked McCree and like Farah, I think was like my main.
Yeah, she's cool.
I loved her a lot because she was somebody I could go from like PC to console with, and I didn't have to worry about it because her whole thing was like splash damage. It was it wasn't as difficult to play her on controller. But I feel like, I don't know. Even Concord now, which we'll talk about later, it's just like, there's a lot to say about it. But 2016, this was such a toss-up, man. Because there's one that I think is obvious for people who know me, but I think I'm gonna go. I ended up going with Titanfall 2.
Okay.
Because Titanfall 2 is so fucking good. Like that. First of all, grappling hook instantly better. Like you put a grappling hook in anything, it's game over, man. It's game over.
Yeah.
Nothing's
Bionic Commando.
Yeah, Bionic Commando type shit. It's good. And that single player campaign was like short, sweet, like enjoyable. Like they had that one level that I actually still feel weird about spoiling for people because it's so neat. What it does with like the time stuff. But yeah, Titanfall 2 was special, and I feel bad for it, especially because it got like suffocated in between these two huge. Because it got suffocated in between like a Call of Duty and a Battlefield, right? Like like within like 2 weeks of each other or something. And they sent that game out to die for no good reason. And that always bothered the hell out of me. So I'm gonna give it for 2016 to Titanfall 2. It's a really, really good game.
Wait, what was your runner-up? You said
my runner-up was Doom 2016.
Oh, right. I forgot Doom came out that year. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was Doom.
Yeah.
Doom's great, but we'll get to it.
We'll get to it. All right, Micah, 2017.
2017. Okay. This was a tough choice for me because these are two completely different games. I had written down South Park, The Fractured But Whole, or Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm going to do Horizon Zero Dawn because when that game came out, it was like, holy shit. All right. Like we have essentially these like Lego creatures that like the way they explode when you shoot them. That's what I loved about it so much was when you like shoot these enemies with your different arrows and they like explode and the pieces are flying off. It gave me that like Lego game. Like, oh my God, I love this. I love the way that everything is like destructible in this world. I liked the story a lot. This is hard for me because I hate the Horizon sequel game. Couldn't stand it. Didn't finish it. But Horizon Zero Dawn was so good. I really liked the characters. I liked the story that they told. It was just so interesting and unique the way it started. I don't know, that was a game that I was like, oh my God. It's like, it's dinosaurs and Legos and shit, and it's like prehistoric. And I really like the idea of civilization falling so far that we've gone back to like caveman, activities and such. That game really stands out to me as one that was just too good to be missed by anybody. But then they fucked it all up with their sequels. So I don't want any more of that.
And Chris's beloved child Aloy facial animation in that game.
So weird. It's
so
weird.
It sucks. Yeah, that was bad. It was like, let's just take her like a full grown person and just kind of like mash them down, try and make them like smaller.
Squishing a gummy bear or something. Yeah.
My favorite. There's like a mod for that game on PC where it replaces adult Aloy with baby God. Aloy, but like the wireframe of the character is still like an adult size, so it's like it's got these like really long, like this really like lanky siren head looking creature.
Dude, no, that's fucked.
It's good. Yeah,
Chris, 2017.
Yeah, this is kind of hard. There's a lot of games that I really like this year. There's like Wolfenstein 2, Little Nightmares. I have a soft spot for.
Yeah, I love Little Nightmares.
Crash, the Crash trilogy is like, that's not really, I don't really count that necessarily, but that's a big one for me. Breath of the Wild obviously was pretty huge, but I think I have to go with
Persona 5.
Yes, Persona 5. I gotta go with Prey, man. Prey was another one of those games where I played it the year it came out and I didn't quite get it. I remember we talked about it on Sacred like early, like it was like one of the earlier episodes where I think it came to PS Plus or something, and I tried it, and I was just like, I don't know if I get it. This isn't really working for me. And then I played the demo for the System Shock remake years later, when that came to Steam, and something clicked in my head. I was like, oh, I was playing Prey really wrong. Like I feel like I was playing Prey like it was like Fallout or just any kind of single player kind of slower paced FPS. And it's like, oh, this is an immersive sim, and that much was obvious, I guess, when you first start Prey. But like I didn't have much experience with immersive sims. I only kind of knew of them like tangentially. And so once I came in with like that System Shock knowledge, it was just like, oh, it changed the game entirely. Like it's like one of my favorite things ever. I fell off of it at the end because like I had to like do a bunch of other shit, and by the time I had to come back to it, I just completely forgot everything that I was doing and like all the intricacies of like so I haven't finished it yet, which is like controversial, I guess, but like I love Prey. Cool. And once I'm done with System Shock, I think I'm gonna hop back in. I have to restart though. It's just been I'm too deep into that game, and it's been too long where it's just like I'm not gonna be able to pick up where I left off. I gotta rebuild everything. But I'm happy to do it. I'm excited.
I also need to play that game. I love arcane games like Dishonored 1 and 2. I love those games. And everyone's like, well, you got to play Prey. So I'm like, okay. I just kind of missed the boat on it when it came out. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it got lost. It got lost in the way. It also just like, it was weird. It was one of those games where I don't think looking at it, there's no real way to sell that game from just like quick snippets, because like immersive sims are very specific in like what's special about them. They're like very, in some ways, laborious, and that's kind of part of it. There was also the point that like it had nothing to do with the original Prey, so it was like a reboot of Prey, but it wasn't. It was, I don't know. That was weird time. Yeah, but it's great.
Micah, 2018.
Oh, I mean, hands down, Red Dead Redemption 2. It could not be anything else. The first game is my favorite game of all time. When Red Dead 2 was announced, I was like losing my shit at the concept of we get to be cowboys again. Because I have always loved Westerns ever since I was a kid. My mom and I would watch like Gunsmoke and Bonanza together. So I always loved Westerns. And the first time I saw Red Dead Redemption, I was like, oh my God, cowboy game? Like we get to be cowboys and it's like Grand Theft Auto style. Like I adored that. I love being the bad guy. I love games that let you be the villain So Red Dead 2, taking some lady down to the bayou, throwing her to an alligator, like that was my shit. Killing a guy, stealing his hat. Like, I just love being the villain, and those games let you do that. So yeah, Red Dead 2, just an experience of a game. Actually, our youngest nephew has just finished Red Dead 2, and I was talking to him about it last week, and he's telling me how good it was and everything. And I'm like, I know, man. I'm like, you gotta play Undead Nightmare because I want him to play that. But so that game, huge, and of course, a character named Micah in the game was literally so exciting to me. My coworkers knew how much I loved Red Dead Redemption. And I was leaving the office one day and they had found out like there's a character named Micah in it. And like he ran out to come find me. He's like, there's a character named Micah in the game. And I was like, holy shit. Like they knew how much it would mean to me that obviously Rockstar doesn't know that I'm a huge fan. But somehow the universe put this in. And he's not like he's a piece of shit. I love it. It was perfect.
God damn it, Micah.
All right, Micah.
All right, boy.
Oh my God. Well, and the best ever screenshot is one from a mission where it says like, you aggravated Micah. I've gotten to use that as a reaction so many times. All right. When I'm texting people, it's fantastic. Red Dead awesome. 2. Chris, if that's not your answer, you're not my son anymore.
Yeah. I have to say like, there's a lot from that year that I really like.
No, there's not.
There is. Sea of Thieves is up there. I like Sea of Thieves a lot. Frostpunk.
Sea of Thieves? Oh my God.
Tetris Effect. Maybe Dragon Ball Fighters. I don't know.
Tetris. You know I hate Tetris more than anything in this world. You know that.
That is so crazy. It is Red Dead Redemption 2. I was playing that game yesterday. Just running around on my horse. I lassoed a guy off of his horse, and then his friend got real pissed at me and then started shooting at me, and I gunned him down and killed his horse. It's just such a there is something about it that is just enamoring. That first experience through it, that story, I think is honestly like that's like a Breaking Bad, like Game of Thrones kind of quality, like TV show that you get to play through, and it feels like it feels like you've played, like watched an entire television show when you're done with that game, and it's it really is next level. I think some of there are design decisions in that game that would normally aggravate the hell out of me if anybody else tried it, or if it was done in any other capacity. Like the whole like, skinning an animal takes like way long, and like searching through cabinets takes way long, and that would bother the hell out of me. And like The Last of Us, or like, or I don't know, like a Fallout game or something. But for some reason, like they committed so much to like the realism of Red Dead 2 that it works for me. Like it just sucks me in. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a cowboy, man. Yeah. I'm into it. I love it. And especially now that I finished the game and now I get to just run around and be a fucking menace with no consequence. And like, it becomes this huge sandbox. I've always been curious about Red Dead Online too, but I never got around to trying that. But
yeah, I never played that either.
But yeah, it's Red Dead 2. Although,
I
don't know, man. Tetris Effect is pretty great.
God, Tetris. I hate Tetris so much.
I don't know how that's possible.
It makes me itchy. All right. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. The same with Pac-Man. I fucking hate Pac-Man so much. But Tetris is worse. Tetris is far worse. Like if I was in some government black site and they're like, you have to play one of these games, or you'll die, I would choose Pac-Man. But Tetris, oh my God. I just hate it.
That's so insane.
Red Dead is an amazing game. I love it. Chris, however, though, you have slightly ruined the game for me with your clips of, why did you say that? I ain't gay.
No, I ain't gay.
I love how this is
gay for you, Dutch.
This is like spread so far past its original inflection point. That video is so it's so well like they all sound like the people. Like to a reason, like it's not AI. It's just these guys doing impressions of these people, and they're so good. I love how the guy doing Dutch really like emphasizes the letter B when he says me. Like, are you gay for B? it's I don't know.
Man. Yeah.
No, don't say that. No.
I unfortunately sent that to a bunch of my friends now. And so I've ruined them through that as well.
It's so good.
You have started a plague.
Hey man, it's making Red Dead stronger for me.
It's so stupid and such a dumbass video, but it's so brilliant at the same time. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's like lightning in a bottle. I don't understand how that shit holds up at all.
Can't be recaptured now.
Yeah. All right, let's see. 2019, Micah.
Yes, 2019, I put Judgment. I'm a huge fan, as people know, of the Yakuza games, and Judgment was fantastic. Yeah. I mean, it's like a spin-off within the same universe, but in this one, you are working as like a private eye. You know, you're a detective trying to solve this case. Let me just tell you, this game had me on my toes like the entire time. I did not figure out, you know, like the mystery, like until the end. It really was because, and I say that because sometimes games and like movies, the trailers give away so much that you're basically like, I'm pretty sure that guy's the killer, right? This game really did, like, it had me like on the edge of my seat the whole time. Like, I don't know what's going to happen next. It was just so many twists and turns of the story. And the gameplay was excellent. The story was just like top notch. I have not yet played Lost Judgment. I think I own it. That's the thing. I can't remember if I bought it or not. It's in this stack of games that's over here, and I just can't remember if I actually ordered it or if I just have it in my Amazon cart and then put save for later and forgot. But
for like 5 years.
Right? Yeah. The Judgment was just like such an amazing experience. I can't like tell people enough. Like, if you like the Yakuza games, definitely play it. If you think the Yakuza games look too weird, definitely play it, because it's within the same universe, but it's different. And you also don't need any Yakuza knowledge to play this game. This is a standalone title that you don't have to play the first 5 Yakuza games for this to make any sense. Like, you can just play this right on its own, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Dude, shout out to them for reusing the map so many times in their games.
Oh my God, right?
People still aren't tired of it. It's like Judgment reuses them as well. Reuses Kamurocho and Yokohama later on, but it's like still damn fun. Yeah, you should play Lost Judgment.
And it's also the feeling like I know where I'm going. I don't know. Yeah. It's a good feeling to be like, oh, I'm back in Kamurocho. Okay, I know where I'm going.
Kyoto or something, and you're like, yes, and you go in.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, it's so good. Go to the bar every time, get whiskey with one of them. Chris, 2019.
Yeah, man, this was such a busy year for me.
It was, like there's so much good
stuff. And there's stuff that's like really acclaimed that keeps getting recommended to me that I haven't played. I haven't played Disco Elysium yet. I'm sure that I would like it too, but
do you like reading a lot? That's Disco Elysium.
I do, kind of. I like the tone of that game. Like, I've seen like clips of it and I'm just like, I think I could get into this, but
sure.
There's something about it that's intimidating to me. I don't know why. I think because it's got such a pedigree and it's like, I'm worried that I might not like it.
So I made it through it, Chris. You can do it.
Okay. But I think, man, even right now, I'm still kind of, I'm going to go with Death Stranding.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. It was between Death Stranding and Control for me, because I love both of those games. I love both of those developers. I love Remedy and Kojima. I think Control is fantastic. Control really satisfies that telekinesis thing in my brain where it's just like, ever since Destroy All Humans, like I love telekinesis, and I just wish it was in more things. And they do such a good job in that. But Death Stranding kind of blew my mind, because I remember, you can go back and listen to those Sacred episodes. I remember being excited to just trash it because it looked so boring. It looked so dumb. I can't believe this guy made a game about walking. Why would he do this? This is so dumb. It's Norman Reedus. What is he doing? What is this? Yeah. And then within the first 5 minutes of playing that game, I was like, damn it, I like it. Yeah. What did they do here?
Kojima magic.
Yeah, I think the way it turns, I've never played a real walking sim. We use that term a lot, like, oh, it's a walking sim. Just because like you push forward and you like kind of like you're on like this almost like museum kind of tour ride, looking through stuff. But like Death Stranding's an actual walking sim. Like you actually have to like, okay, like left foot, right foot. Okay, this is, you know, the terrain is kind of fucky. I have to like pay attention. I have to lean this way. And it's really fun. It's weirdly engaging. I don't know what it is. I remember climbing my first mountain and descending the other side of it and looking back at it. And the feeling that I got was like, oh, the mountain's like that. It was like the corpse of a boss that I had just killed or something. Like, it was like a similar kind of feeling of satisfaction. I was like, this is really special and weird. And I'm really curious as to whether or not that sequel is really going to capture any of that again. It kind of feels like lightning in a bottle in a lot of ways. I kind of didn't even really want a sequel, just because I wasn't sure how they were going to do that, but we'll see. But yeah, Death Stranding.
Have you seen the 10-minute trailer for the sequel?
Of course. Yes.
Okay, I was like,
it looks awesome.
That looks fucking sick.
It does. It does. It looks. I'm totally in for it. Whatever it is. I would actually prefer it to be completely, you know, very, very different. You know, but yeah, Death Stranding is just so weird and special.
Well, Chris, I just finished Death Stranding Director's Cut yesterday.
Oh.
I had been replaying it. I played Death Stranding when it came out. Yeah. Then I just decided to play Director's Cut this time, and that game still holds up. It's still awesome, dude. It's still so fucking good. I love that game. It's so weird. There's nothing like it out there. If you want a game, there's nothing like you play Death Stranding. If you were ready for some weird shit.
Yeah, I never played the Director's Cut. I do want to get around to that because I heard that there's some like really weird stuff in the Director's Cut that wasn't.
Yeah, they've added some stuff. Yeah.
I think I knew at one point like what was in it, but like it's faded from memory, which is actually good. I could probably jump into it with like a more fresh kind of view.
It's a long game though, so keep that in mind.
It is long. Yeah, that's kind of been the.
It's a long game.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna shout out 2019 Sekiro. Just had to shout that out as always. That was my GOTY. And the Game Awards got that right. You did it, Keely. Good job.
Yeah. Sekiro, I think it might be my favorite, honestly.
From game?
Yeah,
it's
I think
definitely so. It's definitely number 1 or number 2 for me. It's just that damn good. All right. Micah, 2020. Great year. Ooh. Nothing happened.
Yeah, I had to Google, like, I was so much in doubt because these past few years have felt so strange. My choice is Ghost of Tsushima, but I actually Googled it like 3 times because I was like, how could that have been 4 years ago? It just doesn't feel right. But it's like, I literally remember I was in like my apartment when I was playing it. So like, it's like, of course it was 2020. You lived there then. But I was just like, what? It does not feel like it's been that long since I played this game. And it also came out on my birthday that year, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
but
cool.
I loved Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, I love, you guys know me. I'm a total weeb. I love Japan, samurai, and all that stuff. I was like, this is incredible. This game, too, looked so good. It actually triggered my fear of heights in a very uncomfortable way. You have to, at times, like scale these like cliffside like shrines. And I remember actually having to ask a friend for help because it made me feel like it made me feel like I really was there. If you looked down, I couldn't do it. There was a certain one that I was just like, I can't do this by myself. I feel like I'm going to die. The story was fantastic. The voice acting was impeccable. I loved the look of the game. I loved the gameplay itself. I thought that just as an all-around package was just such a unique experience. And I just was like, more, please. When do we get another one? So yeah, Ghost of Tsushima has to be the one for me. That was definitely the best game I played in 2020.
Have you played Iki Island?
No.
The DLC? It's the DLC.
Oh, nah. I'm not usually big on DLC.
You gotta play the DLC.
I got that Colin in me. I'm not usually big on DLC. I'm like, make it a real game.
No. You need to make an exception for this game. You need to make an exception for it. The DLC is fantastic, Micah. You get to learn a lot more about Jin.
All right. Maybe you're selling me on it. Because, that game, oh my God. By the time you get to the ending, and I just like, I love this guy so much. I'd do anything for this guy. Yeah, all right. Jin's like, it was just, oh my God. Fantastic.
All right. Chris, 2020 for you.
Dude, that's another crazy, it's a crazy year, man.
Yeah.
Like, Ghost of Tsushima is great. I do want to shout out Ghost of Tsushima because it really is. That's like the best Assassin's Creed game to me. You know, this is like what I wish. This is what I wish Assassin's Creed felt like. It's like, and the vibe of it, like the wind guiding you, super dope. great shit. But yeah, 2020. I think of Hades. I think of Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk's huge.
Yeah,
but I gotta go Doom, man. Doom Eternal was
Doom Eternal. Yeah,
Doom Eternal was so again grappling hook. You win, but that was the very beginning of the pandemic. It was Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing New Horizons. Those are the two. They came out like a couple days apart from each other. There was all this like weird crossover media that people were making because it was.
They came out the same day, actually. I think that's why.
Oh, did they? I wasn't sure.
So.
Yeah, maybe. It was if it wasn't the same day, it was like ridiculously close.
Yeah,
like,
it was
the same
ridiculously
week.
Close. Yeah.
And so yeah, those are the games that everybody was playing. It was all Animal Crossing, and it was all Doom, and it was just a weird vibe that I remember very, very fondly. It was like this weird kind of like, ooh, what the hell is going on? And then this game comes out, and it's so impeccably designed. Doom Eternal is so fucking as like a first person shooter, as like just like a infused with like this like resource management kind of like mindset. It is so good. My only criticism of that game is that it doesn't flow well from level to level because there's like that hub kind of structure,
right?
Which like I think 2016 did a little better, but like I can't go back to 2016 after Doom Eternal. It's not possible for me to do it. It's just so much better. It's so much more thought out, and I'm so pumped for Doom: The Dark Age. I can't even tell you, but but yeah, Doom Eternal I think was my game. Although it was close to Hades was close.
Yeah.
Hades is no
great.
Slouch either, but
yeah, Hades is great.
That soundtrack,
very
dude.
Nice. Ugh. Yeah, very nice. I still need to play the Old Gods DLCs, but I have a feeling if I go back to them, I'm gonna get my ass kicked because I haven't played Doom Eternal in so long.
Yeah, it'll fuck you up. I think. I remember trying it, and I remember trying it like fresh off the game. Because I played like through the game again or something, and then I went into the DLC and I was still getting trounced, and I was like, I don't know. But I finished the first part of it. I think it's part 1 and part 2. And I think I finished part 1, and I got halfway through part 2 before I got sucked away from something else. But yeah, dude, that game is as a first person shooter. I don't know if you get really better as far as single player like action. It's just so good.
Yeah. All right, Micah, 2021.
So this has to go to Tales of Arise. I love the Tales series. And also, Maddie and I, back in the day, did a spoiler cast for that game. I'm pretty sure it was just the two of us. And it was a great time. And we had so much to say about it. But this game had really great story. The end game gets a little unwieldy at a certain point. But I still just loved it so much. The story they told, the structure of, going to fight, each boss in sequence. It felt like an anime in all the best ways. It was like, okay, everything I love about like Naruto, for example, is here in this game. And I just had such a fantastic time. Tales of Arise, the Tales series, my all-time favorite is still going to be Tales of Berseria, probably forever. Oh. But Tales of Arise was excellent. And it's always going to be really high up on my list of favorite Tales games. Tales of Grace's F, boo. Put that one down at the bottom. The game, bad.
I beat that game, and I barely remember anything about it. I just remember one of the characters' name was Richard. And me and my friend would just make fun of how they said Richard in it. Richard or some shit like that. That's all I remember from it.
No, dude, it was so fucking bad. I mean, I played the whole thing, all right, and I own it. But, God, some of the Tales games are rough. And that was one of the bad ones.
Oh, yeah. Really rough. Vesperia was always my favorite of the Tales games.
I have not played that one yet, actually.
Oh,
like the list of ones I played are Tales of Heartsar, Tales of Grace's F, Tales of Berseria, Tales of Arise. So I have more that I need to get to.
Mostly the newer ones then.
Yeah, I got into it with Tales of Heartsar on Vita because it was part of the PlayStation Summer Sale for $1.99. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'll try it. And that's what got me into the series in the first place. Nice. And then from there, I've dabbled in them, but have not played all of them, that's for sure.
Damn. Chris, what's your favorite Tales of game?
Oh, man. Tales of the Bronx.
Yeah. The GBA game.
That's right. the GBA game. Oh, God. Right. I've not played a single Tales game.
Yes, we know. Yeah. Quickly, Micah, have you played Scarlet Nexus?
Oh, I wasn't super into it. I watched Colin play some of it, and I was kind of like, this is not what I expected it to be. It was kind of cool, but like watching him play, well, I watched him play all of it. Once I decided I wasn't going to play it, I said, fuck it, I'll just watch you play this. And I wasn't feeling it. It didn't hit the same.
Got it. That was the Tales team. Doing something different.
Yeah, so they should have just been make another Tales game. But what do they do?
I like Scarlet Nexus more than Tales of Arise. I want them to make more Scarlet Nexus.
I liked I remember I liked the designs of the creatures in that game, like the enemy design in that game.
Yeah, they're like plants. I thought it was really shit.
Yeah, I thought it was really fucking. I played a little bit of it, and then the visual novel stuff came up, and I was like, oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, a little low budget.
Yeah,
that's the Tales series definitely suffered from that as well.
Yeah, no, Arise had some of those weird cutscenes that I was like, why are you doing this? This is not necessary. But yeah, Scarlet Nexus, the enemy design reminded me of like Persona in a lot of ways. Just these like mishmash like creatures. I did like that a lot.
Chris, 2021.
Oh man, yeah, a lot this year. Psychonauts 2 was there. I liked obviously Resident Evil. That Resident Evil Village was took everything. So this is a mix up between two things for me, but I'm gonna give it to It Takes Two because that's what I said at the time, and I still feel it. Like there's something about It Takes Two that is very, very unique and special. There's
super good.
That's another game where there's not really anything like that game. You know, there's very few games that even remotely capture like what the point of that. Like there's no other experience like that. And so It Takes Two, I think, just from uniqueness and cleverness and the fact that there's so many mini games in that game that are really polished and really well designed. Like each and every like level in that game has like an entirely like dedicated gameplay mechanic that could be its own, that could have been its entirely standalone game in like the PS2 era. And it's kind of wild that they managed to do everything so that's like the rare example of like a Cheesecake Factory where everything's good. But there's a toss up between that and Hitman 3, man. I love Hitman 3.
Ooh, yeah.
But that's muddy now because like now they're all the same game because it's like the Hitman World of Assassination, and so like Hitman 3 is Hitman 1 and 2, so it's like I don't know what the fuck they're doing with that. But It Takes Two, I think, takes it for me for that year.
Nice.
Such a weird game.
Hell yeah. Okay, Micah, 2022.
Okay, this has to be Triangle Strategy, which was just from the moment I played that game, it was just like, oh my God, the layers to it of like, you have, you know, this little like investigation that you have to do to try and like solve, I don't want to say like a mystery, but you're trying to investigate, find evidence to, you know, implicate like what you should do with your army and who maybe, you know, is the bad guy. I don't want to give too much away, but it's not just finding evidence. You have to then convince your party members to choose what you want to do next. This game has so many branching paths, and it really is just, there's, I don't know, it's endless, like how many ways it could go, basically. I played the game through once and then realized, man, this could have gone 10 different ways depending on how much further back I changed a decision, right? And so it's a game that's very replayable. It's not wicked long either, which lends to the replayability, in my opinion. And you do just genuinely want to see, like, okay, if I chose this instead, what would have happened? And it's also not always what you choose, but again, what you can convince your party members to do. So you might say, oh, I want to go do this mission. And they'll be like, no, we vote against that. You have to go do this one. The way around that is to like gather enough evidence to like make a really strong supporting argument. But if you fail to do that, they kind of take over and tell you what to go do next. It's a really unique experience for anyone who loves, you know, strategy RPGs, as I do. And it's probably the best one I've ever played.
Wow. Yeah. I really liked this game as well, Micah. It's super good. I am also a big fan of the genre. So here's someone else bringing it up. Is very, very nice. Have you played Final Fantasy Tactics?
No, I have not.
Okay. Hopefully we get that remaster because that's like the one that everyone loves the most. So hopefully you get to play it soon. All right, Chris, 2022.
Man, I wish I had like a unique perspective on this, man. Like this year had so many. This year had a lot of good shit. Like a lot of stuff that I genuinely liked a lot, but it's just kind of no contest. You know, it's obviously Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Despite how much came out this year that I actually authentically really, really enjoyed. Elden Ring takes it, man. It's just I put how many hours did I put in this game? Probably not as many as other people have, but I put like 180 hours into it, which is like not normal for me for single player games. I don't normally spend more than like Red Dead Redemption. Like Red Dead Redemption is like Red Dead Redemption 2 is on the higher end of hours that I've spent in a single player game, and that's like only 60 hours or something, like maybe 70. So to play twice as much Elden Ring means something clearly. They're doing something right. It's just a really satisfying game. That game made me rethink how I thought about like world exploration, and just like the density of design. Like it constantly surprised me, and that feeling of discovery is so rare. In large part just because I think we just know so much more about games now, and we're obviously older. We're not like kids anymore, where it's just like every game is like, what the whoa, everything's magical, because like you just don't have a concept of like how any of it is made. But Elden Ring kind of reawakened that a little bit. It was something that's like you take an elevator and you go down, and then you see this place that you couldn't even conceptualize being there. Like the fact that the map is as broad as it is, as wide as it is, as dense as it is, and as layered as it is really, really special. Because at any given moment, you feel like you're standing in a place where there are at least 3 separate tiers of open land that you can explore. It's crazy. I've never experienced anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Elden Ring special.
Yep. Hell yeah. All right, Micah, 2023.
Yeah, I put Sea of Stars for mine. I really loved that little game, Garl. Oh my god, I loved Garl so much. He was just so adorable. Just so silly and fun. I loved Garl. And Colin and I had a lot of memes about Garl because we were watching The Walking Dead at that time. And so instead of Carl, we started calling him Garl. And that added a great deal of fun. But yeah, this game, the soundtrack, phenomenal. I loved the look of it. The story it told was very heartfelt and sweet. This was the first time I had played a game where you had to like, when you do your attacks, you can get like extra like bonus if you like time your button press correctly, or like defend extra if you time it correctly. That was the first time I played a game like that. So I was like over the moon with how engaging it was, because I don't know, like a lot of people, I definitely struggle a bit with like multitasking too much and always feeling distracted by something. And this game kept me so engaged on another level because of that mechanic, because you do have to just be like on alert. Like, no, it's the enemy's turn, but you do have to still be like totally engaged with it so that you can defend and block extra. And that was very helpful to getting me really invested in the game. So yeah, Sea of Stars was an excellent one. Colin and I did a spoiler cast on that one too. And we had a blast talking about it because it was a really special game to both of us. And we had to sort of kind of like stagger our play a bit. So like one person wasn't getting too far ahead of the other. So it was not to spoil them, essentially, because he was playing on the TV. I'm playing on my Switch. I at some point just got ahead of him just enough so that whatever I saw on the TV would never be a spoiler. But yeah, that was a really awesome experience.
Nice. Yeah, great game. Okay, Chris, 2023.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Sea of Stars. That was like an unusual game for me to play, but I think I got sucked into it largely because of that real-time element, you know? Because I think
it does not seem like a Chris game.
Yeah, no, I think it's the real-time stuff, man. Like, I don't like playing a game that feels like I'm not really involved with it. And I think that's like a lot of what turn-based... That's a lot of my problems with a lot of turn-based games, are like, they don't really like appeal to me in that way, because I just kind of feel like I'm just like selecting these off of a menu and just waiting for them to happen. But that real-time stuff really helped. It got me a lot further in that game than I think I otherwise would have ever gotten. Then I got sucked away by like other things, as tends to happen. But yeah, 2023 is, man, at first I thought this was a weird year because there's a lot of games that I think I loved on the level of a game of the year, but I don't think technically qualify. So there are things like Dead Space Remake I loved. But it's a remake, and no, I think just like from personally, like it's like okay. Yeah, it's great, but it's also like this clearly, I don't know. If I think about 2023, am I gonna think of Dead Space remake? Yeah, probably not. You know, like if I think of like the game that like was that year for me, and I think for me, I gotta go Alan Wake 2.
Okay,
Alan Wake 2 is just so. That's another one of those games where it's just like this is so weird for what this game is, because it's presented like a very traditional kind of like photorealistic kind of AAA third person horror shooter, and then it does just the weirdest shit possible. The DLC is great also. It's really short, but there's aspects of that DLC that I was genuinely surprised to see happen ever. Both from like gameplay, it reminded me of like Kojima type stuff where I was just like, this is insane that they're doing this with this engine and that they're fucking with their IP in this way. It's really cool. So shout out to Remedy, Alan Wake 2, Sam Lake, and those guys. It's just a very offbeat Twin Peaks, just perfect shit. I love it.
Yeah, totally. Okay, now we come to 2024. Obviously, the year's not over yet, but we're just going to go with what your current GOTY is. Micah.
Oh, no, it's over. Unicorn Overlord.
Okay.
It will not be beat. There is nothing that could beat this game right now. This will be my game of the year for the next 10 years. All right? Like this, it was perfect. It was flawless. I was so hooked on this game from the very first battle I did. I was just like itching for it. Like, oh my God. It's what I really enjoyed about the game is, you know, as Chris noted, sometimes these kind of like strategy games, you just feel like you're too much in the back seat. But with this one, you could speed up the battles dramatically. So you don't just have to watch the animations play out. You can kind of just skip it. And not only does it really streamline the experience because it's a lengthy game, no matter how you play it, but it just made me feel that much more engaged to sort of set up my little army. All right, send you over here, and I skip all the battle animations, and you kind of just see like the results play out. I just got so hooked on it. I got so hooked on seeing the numbers popping up on the screen. It told a decent enough story to motivate you the whole way through. It's nothing crazy story-wise. It's not going to really knock your socks off, but the gameplay is what I was really there for. And the story was just enough, you know, just enough whipped cream on top to make it a delightful treat. The Unicorn Overlord, like Jaffe and I, we both like loved this game so much and talked about it a lot on the shows. It's one that if you haven't tried it, like if you like strategy games, it's a must try because it really was just so perfect. There's nothing that I've played so far this year that could beat that experience.
Damn. I've played about 7 or 8 hours of it, and I do enjoy it quite a lot. I just fell off on it because of other shit coming out, but I do need to get back to it because it's a Vanillaware game, and I just love looking at that game because everything's so gorgeous in it.
Right, and just getting hooked on unlocking things on the map, like that was a game that I'd be like, okay, one more, and just I'd realize 2 hours have gone by, and I have just one more an entire map section to be unlocked. Basically, it's just that good.
It's that good. All right, Chris, 2024.
Yeah, man. There's a lot I'm looking forward to this year, but I think for now, I can't deny that Helldivers is something, man. Like, because I jumped into it last night, or not last night. Like, I think like 2 nights ago, like super recently, because a bunch of friends of mine just hit me up out of nowhere. It's like, hey, you want to play something? And I was like, yeah, let's. And we were trying to find something. And we were like, oh, do you want to do Sea of Thieves? It's like, we don't have enough people. And then we were just like, yeah, let's just do some Helldivers. Like, why not? And immediately, like, more people got on when we said that we were doing Helldivers, and it was back into the swing of things again. And it was still fun. It's still frantic. It's still, I don't know. There's something about that game that is very, very, it's very me. It's very physics driven. It's very chaos driven. It's very emergent gameplay oriented. And I think there is an element of like, it is repetitious. I think all games are technically, if you really want to dive into it. And I do think it's one of those games that you can burn yourself out on, but like coming back to it really felt like I don't even know. It felt like putting on like an old comfortable pair of pants where like I just slipped right back into it. It's like, oh, I remember what this stratagem does. It's like the perfect amount of simplicity and complexity like layered on top of each other. Like, there's a lot of different guns, but there's not like, oh, you got to put the ACOG scope on this gun, or like you got to put the extended mag on this gun. It's like, no, like the Liberator is the Liberator, does what the Liberator does. You know what I mean? Or like, this is what this stratagem does. You put in the code, it does that every time. And it's the chaos that emerges from it that makes it like complicated. And I really think they built something really special with that game. They've handled it kind of poorly. They keep tweaking it, and they keep like, I've seen people who've been playing consistently talk about how like they keep nerfing and buffing things, and it's kind of all over the place. And I can sympathize with that. I do think it's a little bit weird to focus so heavily on the meta of a co-op game that is not really PvP oriented. I think that's a little strange. They might be too many cooks in the kitchen with that. But Helldivers is a vibe, man. And it still holds up. I was worried that jumping into it again, I'd be like, I don't know, we did everything we could in Helldivers, right? And we did, but it was still fun. It was still fun. It's like playing Horde mode in Gears 2 or like Firefight or something, where it's just like, this feels just satisfying and good, and it's not sweaty, it's not competitive. It's just really good.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of Left 4 Dead in the sense of,
totally.
Like how you're saying, like, I've ran through Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 so many times, but it's like every now and then, like I'm down to come back for a little bit, just revisit it. It's just fun. Just shooting zombies.
It's exactly that kind of game. I think it's just, it's simple. And I feel like a lot of games try to jump into this niche of like this kind of like simple, like jump in with your boys and do some co-op, but they lose the plot with it. Like I think Back 4 Blood was one. Right. Yeah. Where I was so excited for Back 4 Blood because it was just like, oh my God, more Left 4 Dead and another simple kind of thing. And then you jump into it and it's just like, oh, it's like there's a card system. And you can customize every single weapon. You can put an extended mag on your fucking shotgun or whatever. And I'm like, just give me a shotgun. Just put a shotgun on the ground and let me pick it up. And like, what do you mean? What are you doing? Like, this is not Call of Duty. Like, no one's here looking for this. It's just a lot of over designing and over just unnecessary amounts of detail where like it doesn't need to be. And I think Helldivers is just pitch perfect as far as that goes. The perfect amount of complexity, the perfect amount of simplicity, just letting the physics engine like completely run it, I think was a great choice. I don't know what engine they're using. I know it's like a proprietary, like weird one that apparently is like defunct now. Like the original architects don't even work on it anymore. So that'll be interesting to figure out once that game deals with something that they probably can't fix overnight. But yeah, just a special game, I think. But the rest of the year is looking pretty strong too. So we'll see if that holds up. But for now, I think definitely Helldivers is my 2024 pick.
Cool. Excellent. Good lists from both of you. Now, let's talk about something a little more controversial that's been going on here. Concord. This game is getting it right now hard.
Oh,
like, not sales-wise. It's getting dunked on like crazy right now. Everyone is just fucking memeing about this game. It's a bloodbath right now. I played some of the closed beta or open beta, I think it was at the time, and it seemed fine.
Yeah.
I enjoyed myself for what it was, but I was like, it's fine, but like not enough where I'm like, I need to play this game more. I'm good, I think. But Chris, you've been playing actually now that it's out. Please tell me your launch experience been.
I mean, finding a game has not been a problem. The servers, the servers are not being slammed. It's very, very open. It's very easy to get into a game, which is a weird positive, I guess, out of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I think I don't feel that dissimilarly to how I felt when I was playing the beta, which is that like I think it's good. I think what's here is solid.
Yeah.
I enjoy playing it. I actually think it feels pretty good to play. Like the more you play it, the more like you kind of settle into things. Like I get it. Like it's I get what's here. I get that there's like a lot of FPS development prowess on display here. Like you can feel it with certain characters, other characters not so much. I actually think it kind of suffers in some way because certain characters feel so much better than other characters that you have no real incentive to switch around. And the biggest barrier to that, I feel, is just the character design. I think there's no real interesting character. Like, there's not a character that functions as interesting as like Roadhog, for example. You know what I mean? Like, there's no like, oh, I'm going to grapple you from across the map and pull you here. And like, that's like an interesting kind of like wrench to throw into the gears of an otherwise traditional kind of multiplayer game. It's like, oh shit, I'm here now. There's really nothing like that. It's all pretty standard stuff, and it's really well designed functional stuff, but it's nothing really pulls you out, and the designs of the characters aren't really appealing enough that you would even want to pick them just to try them out. It's unfortunate. I settled onto this character that I still don't even fucking know the name of, actually, because but I've been playing her almost exclusively. It's this knife. She's like a throwing knife lady who does like backflips, and she moves a little bit like Quake in some way. Like, she slides, and it actually feels a little bit like doing you remember those videos of like CS:GO surfing with like the knife? Yes, I do. It's like there's like a flow state that you can get into that, and it's super satisfying. But a lot of the other characters can't do that, and so I'm just not inclined to play them. I play this character almost exclusively, and if I can't play them, I just pick another character until I can lock that character down. Not the best way to play, but I mean, it's how I feel. It's what gives me the most fun playing it. And I don't know. I just think what's here is fine. I just think it's visually ugly. And I really want to point out how important just visual design and art style and that kind of design language is to the experience of a game. Think about a game like Scorn, for example, right? Scorn, not particularly well received. You know what I mean? Like, that's not like a highly praised, highly sung about game. But unquestionably, that gameplay in Scorn is remarkably heightened by the fact that it is H.R. Geiger and you know, like body horror and kind of biological, kind of like gross, like biotech. That same gameplay with an unremarkable art style would have resulted in a far, far less, like a far worse game than it otherwise was. And it was already kind of like a whatever game anyway. So if an art design can raise a game that is largely mediocre to something that is like at least worth looking at, think about what a good art design, think about what good art style and what a good visual design language can do for a game that functions as well as Concord. And when you think about it in that context, it's really sad, because it really feels like the art team and the design team really let the game down. Because I do think the game has problems. Like I said, there's no unique heroes that function gameplay wise in the same way that like Roadhog functions, or even the way that Farah functions, the way that she like pushes people. Like, her whole thing is like displacement. Right. There's really not a lot of, all characters are like damage dealing or healers, you know what I mean, or tanks or something. You know, there's not really that many interesting archetypes, and that could be a problem, but it's an even bigger problem when it's in a world that feels like you just don't want to explore it, or you don't really want to be in it, or you don't really want to spend time with these characters. We're going to talk about Deadlock a little bit later, but I do think it's a worth bringing up that Deadlock is not my kind of game really at all. It's a MOBA. I really hate MOBAs. I don't love the idea of it. But even though I'm more into the gameplay of Concord than I am of Deadlock, I want to go back to Deadlock more because the characters are interesting and I like looking at them. And there's like a visual design language that I think is cool and enjoyable to take in. And that says something, you know, because it's not my game at all, but I'm definitely looking more forward to playing it than I am looking forward to playing more of Concord, even though Concord plays, in my opinion, technically better, you know, like it's visual design is so important. And I don't know. Concord is just not hitting.
Yeah, Chris, I mean, I think you're kind of right. I really liked your examples of bringing up how none of the characters have these abilities that like dynamically change the match in a way, like a surprising way, like the Roadhog hook.
Yeah, I remember getting
like a crazy thing in that game. Yeah, like you're getting pulled somewhere completely different, and now you're trapped here, or getting fair blasted somewhere. Like all that kind of shit is super important. Even like some of the character movements, I think about like how Genji and Hanzo were like the only two that could climb walls the way they could and stuff like that. And I don't recall really there being anyone like that in Concord as far as I remember.
No, the closest thing I think is that knife lady, and that's really just because I think her base movement speed is fast, and so she like can take more advantage. I think it's just the physics engine where it's like you could just kind of slide more easily. I don't even think it's necessarily on purpose, you know?
Yeah.
So, I think about Overwatch, and I think about like getting Roadhog hooked around corners, like into like I can't remember what map it was. I think it was like the Greece one where like there was a well in the middle. And people and people would like people would Roadhog rope me like into the well. Yeah. And I mean, like, what the fuck? And that's like annoying, but it's also cool that like it's like Helldivers in that sense. It's like not exactly like PvP, but like when something comes down, it just completely fucks everything up, and you're just thrown across the map. It's just like these are disruptions to the normal flow that make things feel less predictable. And the less predictable you can make your game feel, the more it disguises the repetition inherent to what game design is. Like all games are repetitious. There's really no argument about that. The whole point is to do the same thing over and over again and have fun doing it. And the games that do it the best are the games that disguise that repetition as, you know, a little bit more unpredictable than it actually is. And I think Overwatch does that very, very well. I think a lot of games do it really, really well. But this one is just kind of like, as I'm playing through Concord, I'm like, yeah, you know, it's good. It's solid. I do appreciate the fact that I think what's nice about it, to be fair, and this is not necessarily, this is kind of a, I don't even know if this is like a forward-handed uncompliment in some way, where because so many try-hard people are playing other games, it does feel like this is the first, you know, competitive multiplayer game that I could play and like relax in. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel too heavy.
Yeah. You know? It feels very low stakes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's low stakes, which is nice. That is fulfilling like something, because I do think that's been kind of like a sorely missing thing. But I feel like that's only happening because the game isn't popular. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's like a triumph of design, or like, oh, they've tuned the skill-based matchmaking just right so that you can have like a chill game. I think it's just because the best players are probably not playing this.
Yeah. Totally.
But yeah. I don't know.
I'd be really curious. Like, I want to check it out, Chris. I think I'd like to see it after the first season, kind of where it's at and how the game's evolved. And
yeah,
I'm just like, I'm not paying $40 for this game. Not that $40 isn't a fair deal or anything for this game. I'm not saying that's the case. That's just with how much there is. I'm not willing to spend the money to play it. When it's $20 or something, dude.
Maybe,
sure.
Yeah.
I'll play a couple hours of it for $20.
Yeah, the issue is that it exists. And I keep trying to tell it, like, I've been streaming it and I've been kind of talking to chat about it. And I keep trying to really point out the fact that it's not that $40 is unfair. It's that $40 is not competitive in this marketplace that exists outside of the game. Right. You know, why spend $40 on a game right now, and that you would really ostensibly need your friends to have also to get the most out of, because it's a multiplayer team-based game. When you can wait a couple months and Marvel Rivals is there. And there's a pretty good shot, pretty high chance that anybody who's interested in a hero shooter is probably going to be on Marvel Rivals day one, because Marvel Rivals not only has, you know, the Marvel name recognition, but it's also fucking free.
Yeah.
It's just hard to justify, especially when, like, I don't know, that money can go towards a single player game that's great. Or like, you know, in the meantime, and you still get your arena shooter, you still get your hero shooter fix later with Marvel Rivals for free, and you get to put that money towards something that actually, you know, might be worth your time, irrespective of how successful it is outside of your own experience with it. Like, that's kind of the problem with multiplayer games now, is that they can really only survive for as long as they're popular, and as long as, you know, they're populated. And I can't recommend Concord, given that it's
right.
You know,
with how much other stuff there is. Yeah,
with how much other stuff. I'm not even really that confident that the game's going to survive for the next like 2 seasons.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
You know, it's good. I think what's there is good. I think it's solid. I think if you buy it, I don't know if you'll necessarily be that disappointed in the play experience. I just don't think it's I just can't in good faith really recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't either. If someone's like, I have $40, should I spend it on Concord or something else? I'd be like, well, you could buy Helldivers for that price. So I would say if you want to play with your friends, play that.
Yeah.
And every like competitive multiplayer game, pretty much outside of like Call of Duty, is free. All of them.
Yeah.
Valorant, Overwatch 2, Counter-Strike 2. Well,
that's another example too. It's like, on. Dude, if you're even within the ecosystem, it's like, hey, I'm looking to spend $40 on a Sony first part or like a PlayStation multiplayer game. It's like, buy Helldivers.
Yeah,
like unquestionably, like it's not even a contest as far as that goes.
Yeah,
Totally.
Micah, what do you think about all this Concord action going on here? You have some experience. You like the multiplayer shooters in the past. How are you feeling about this?
Oh, no. From the moment I saw the trailer, I was just like, I'm not playing this. Because I kept making jokes to Colin about, was it Battleborn that was up against Overwatch in 2016? And just
what a
one of those won. And as Chris was saying, when it comes to the look and style of the game, it's like Overwatch won out over Battleborn hands down.
Oh, yeah.
And so I look at something like Concord, and my first thought, like seeing the trailer, and I was like, is this Marvel adjacent? Only because I'm like, they look like knockoff Marvel characters. I was like, is this Guardians of the Galaxy adjacent in some way? Like, what is this? And then finding out, because it just looks like that.
No, it does. They're like custodians of the nebula or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, they really had this distinct Marvel-esque quality. And I don't mean that as an insult. I'm not knocking on Marvel. I'm saying it looked like that. The colors, everything about it was just kind of like this, ragtag bunch of heroes. We're doing that again. And I was just kind of like, who's this for? Because if I wanted to play a game like this, I'd go play Overwatch 2. Like, that was my first instinct, was there's nothing about this that really comes out as special or unique. If I wanted to play a game in this fashion, I'd just go back to Overwatch. So from the moment I saw this, I was just like, I'm not playing that. It is funny though, as you said, Chris, of like, having such a low player base that's like the stakes don't feel very high. And it's like, that's probably exactly what happened with Battleborn. There are people playing that. Like, this is actually kind of refreshing. There's not a lot of people here.
I would liken it more to like Lawbreakers, I think, because Lawbreakers I thought was, like Lawbreakers wasn't bad. Like Lawbreakers was pretty good. It just didn't, it was just competing with something that was just a little bit more stylistically appealing. I actually kind of technically, like on a pure like technical level, I think I preferred the gameplay of Lawbreakers a little bit more than Overwatch. But like, there's no question that Overwatch was just like a more appealing game to spend time in. It was just like a better design. There was like a bit of that weird kind of pseudo realism thing going on with Lawbreakers, or like it tried to look too high fidelity for what it was, and it's just like, you're not necessarily really good. Yeah, you don't really get the assignment here. Also, Lawbreakers had a grappling hook, so I was biased.
Yeah,
but I just think they just really missed the mark here, and it really is a shame, because again, I think the technical, like raw, like core design of it, and the way that like in a gray box. Like, I could see, like, if you're playing like the core game of this, right, in a gray box environment where it's just, nondescript hands with like an empty gray void with like a bunch of boxes to jump around and fly around and shoot things in. I could see how, like, at some point you'd be like, oh, we have something here. I think this feels good. And then you get the art assets in, and then it doesn't really elevate it beyond.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
It's huge. I harp on art design constantly. Like, people are sick of it, but I really do think it's like a majority of what your experience is with a game. Like, I think it's like a good 50 to 60% of what your experience with a game is taking it in visually, and like, if it's ugly, or not even ugly, like bland, it doesn't even inspire, because like Scorn was ugly, and that actually probably got people to play it more than they otherwise would have. So like, I actually think, it's just the blandness and the lack of inspiration. Like you said, it's like the Guardians of the Galaxy, like, it doesn't work.
The stank, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one wants to be those characters in Concord, you know? I don't look at any of those characters and I'm like, dude, that character's sick.
Yeah.
I tried really hard to like the robot, and I was just like, man, I can't
impossible.
Even do it. I just
can't
do it, man.
It's impossible.
And like that makes me not want to play your game, which is a problem because so many other games have awesome characters that you want to be as, that are fun to be as. Because like they want you to grind out shit for them, probably unlock skins and stuff like that. But if it's like, if it all looks like shit anyways, I don't care about that at all. There's way too many other games where I can get that for way better.
Fortnite. Are you kidding?
Yeah, exactly.
Fortnite's free and has amazing skins. Actually.
Exactly.
So like, yeah, no, it's not the right time for this. I feel like maybe this could have hit. I don't know, maybe like
4 or 5 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, like when it was apparently still in development. Because like that's another thing too. That's another thing, right? I do want to point out like. I don't know, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh. I think I'm being fair, but like I'm being a little bit more cruel than I otherwise would be because like we learned recently that this is an 8-year project, that this was in development for 8 years. I don't know how true that is. I don't know how much of it is like drafting up like ideas, you know, as early as 8 years ago, because that happens sometimes and it's not necessarily by that standard. Destiny 1 was in development since like 2007, which like I don't really, you know, I don't think is seriously true. But
it makes sense to me, Chris, because Overwatch was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh shit, let's make our own Overwatch. Let's focus on the story. Like you get some of that in Overwatch, but it's not in game. Let's really flesh that out and make that part of the story.
That's the thing too, is that like I really didn't understand with this whole, the idea of Concord is, okay, we're going to have a hero shooter, but we're going to give it that kind of Sony first party kind of love and care. And we're going to have like CG cutscenes. And we're going to have like fully motion captured, fully voiced, all this stuff. Every week, vignettes. I'm sure some people disagree with me. I've had people like tell me like, no, this is a huge deal. I really don't believe anybody gives a shit about story in these games. I don't see how you could. Micah, when you were playing Overwatch, did you care about why you were doing what it is that you were doing?
No, I hated when they tried to tell me it's like, oh, Winston is like a what? I'm like, shut up, just shut the fuck up. All right, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. It's cool that it's there, right? But it's like I'm always going to be a proponent of like fleshing out your game, you know, awesome. Like I think Destiny having all this lore in the background is super great. I love it. But that's supplement. It's not supplementary. It's additive. You know, it's exactly. It's meant to season the meat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if the meat sucks, if the meat is old and stale, there's only so much seasoning that you can lather this thing with before it's just over seasoned stale meat. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I have never once given a shit about what I'm doing in a multiplayer game. Like, it reminds me of like in Halo 4 when 343 took over and they were like, the multiplayer is canon because it takes place in a simulation. It's like, I don't need this. I don't need you to do that. I was totally fine just being a fucking guy in a spacesuit shooting people on a random environment with no context or consequence. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm here because it's fun, and you've built a fun thing that looks really good, by the way, visually. So like, I don't this deep need to like give everything a canon or like make everything like consequential is. It's the enemy of exactly what I was talking about earlier, like the simplicity that kind of killed Back 4 Blood. It's like, listen, keep it simple. Stupid should be right in every developer's office ever, because they just don't know how to keep things simple, and as a result, I just think they fuck things up. And I think maybe look, this could be cool, right? The idea of like, okay, you have vignettes and story, right? But is it so cool that it prevented you from putting out a free-to-play game because the money that it would cost you to make these cutscenes demanded a full retail price of $40? Like, is it worth it to have the game die because people are priced out of it just to have these cutscenes when you have a pretty solid game that could be built upon that probably would have succeeded a lot more if you just let people play it without those cutscenes for free?
Yeah.
And that is the value proposition there. And I don't think they made the right call. I think this game would be a lot better served if it was free to play without these cutscenes. Straight up. I think people would have less.
It's like, I liked the lore in Overwatch. I thought it was cool, but that's not what got me there. You know, like I came into Overwatch because the game looked really fun, even though like they debuted these games the same exact way. I've talked about this before. CG cutscene for Overwatch, and there's gameplay. Concord, they did the same thing, but Overwatch was received way more because Chris, like you said, art style, characters, way more likable right off the bat.
Yeah, it's also new. Overwatch, it was also new.
Yeah, brand new kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, man, I like the idea of your stories in your games, but it feels like to me. Now, we didn't work on the game, so we have no idea, but like so much of the budget went to these cutscenes that no one gives a shit about. Like, I was going to ask you about the story cutscenes, Chris, but I'm pretty sure you didn't even watch them. I'm pretty sure you just skipped them.
I tried to watch them. I just don't know what. I just don't know what I'm supposed to get at. Like, because I just fundamentally don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, like I just like, I'm sorry. It's like giving context. It's like giving context to why Tetris is happening. Like, I don't care. I'm already here. I've already met you like at the core conceit of the conversation where it's like, you have a fun game for me to play? Okay, cool. I'm here. Show it to me. And then they're like, well, this is Lennox and he's I don't even know what these characters are.
Lennox. Yeah. Well, I'm so curious. I would love to see what the PlayStation numbers are for this game. Obviously, the Steam chart numbers are really bad. Horribly horrible. I wonder how it's selling on PlayStation. I guarantee you it's selling more, quite a bit more, but I don't know how much that actually is. If that's like a couple thousand, maybe. Yeah. Maybe 10,000. I don't know. But yeah, this game's got a long road ahead of it. Or an uphill battle, I should say, with this game. It's had it since its launch. And honestly, dude, most of it is, like Chris said, is just because of the visuals and the tone of this game. When everyone saw that cutscene, everyone just kind of rolled their eyes and was like, fuck.
Yeah,
you could feel the enthusiasm just leave everyone's body during that shit.
It's
unfortunate. Yeah, it's just ugly.
It's just not particularly appealing, and it is unfortunate because I do think the game is solid. It's just like it's not going to draw the eyes, and I've seen some conversation. It's a vocal minority, I'm sure, but it's just like, oh well, it's because it's like woke and there's like diversity, and it's like no, there's diversity in Overwatch too. You know what I mean? Like
there's diversity in like all those games.
Yeah, there's diversity in a ton of them, and like people don't care about those. There's diversity in Deadlocked, and nobody seems to give a shit because guess what? Because it looks good, because it's well designed and appealing to the eye. So it's like, I don't know, man. This game's got a lot of problems, but you said a long road ahead of it. It's more of a long road behind it.
It's got
after 8 years, and
it's gonna be falling off a long cliff. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Let's see. Germanos wrote in. Germanos. Hi, dudes. So can you all recall the last time a game received the amount of hate that Concord is getting? I get a lot of people don't find the game appealing. I do. That's not me. That's them. Yeah. But my God, the amount of shit thrown at this game is nothing I've ever seen in the industry. Comments begging them to cancel the game, for Firewalk to close in embarrassment, and not to mention people laughing at the developers, calling them names, etc. on every post about the game. Now content creators are making videos about a dev who snapped and started pushing back. Yeah, no wonder. It feels like the poor kid in school who stayed calm for days being harassed by classmates, and when he snapped, everyone laughed about him snapping. This feels so wrong. This game did not invade a country in Europe or tried to kill an US ex-president. While it feels like it did, all the best from Poland, Tomaz. Holy shit, those comparisons.
Oh, man.
Listen, I totally get people that like this game. They don't like to see it getting shit on. I understand that. That's just you want something to do good. You don't want to see it get this kind of flack, but that's just the reality of the situation is. Games get dunked on all the time. and Concord just happens to be the next one in line. And it's a very easy game for people to dunk on for various reasons that we've talked about throughout this show.
Yeah.
So I don't know, dude. And like the dev like fighting back, I have no idea what this dev said. I have no idea. But usually that doesn't make things better. Usually.
Yeah, it's not the best look, not the best way to go about it. Look, I think it goes without saying, don't harass developers or like,
yeah,
you know,
of course,
just
do not
fucking
do that.
Be a normal person. If you don't like a game, just talk about it, and you know, if you want to share your opinion about it, share your opinion. But don't. I always think it's weird when people like seek out. It's like when that Star Wars actress, what is it, the from oh my god, what was the middle one of the new ones? The middle movie of the Last Jedi. The Asian lady got all that hate because she was like,
yeah.
And
it's
ridiculous. Like, calm down. She's acting. She didn't write the fucking thing. But yeah, I think it is psychotic behavior. But again, this is like not necessarily new. Like I remember being one of the only like positive voices about Starfield when that was out because I was like kind of into it. I would constantly I got so many crazy messages. It's not anything new. It's just Concord's turn, basically. And in like a month, it'll be something else. You know, is it unhinged? Yeah, but it's not as unique of a situation as you might assume. Unfortunately, just people online are very maladjusted.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like anyone who enjoys the game, dude, like I don't want to take away your fun. None of us want to do that. So if you're having fun, please continue to enjoy the game. All right, this is from KB. Hey, Summoners. I'm sure much of today's conversation is going to be about Concord, and I'd like to offer my 2 cents specifically to those who say the only reason why this game has failed is because of its perceived wokeness. Games like Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, Valorant, Marvel Rivals, and Valve's new game, Deadlock, all feature female characters and some form of LGBTQ plus representation, yet have significantly more positive buzz, regardless of how you might feel about their gameplay. This is a hero shooter where the design, look, and aesthetic of the heroes make up at least 50%, if not more, of the player's experience. I know how Concord plays, but the look, style, and design of the heroes are generic at best. And a subgenre of being generic is a death sentence, and most of them are downright goofy to look at. They look like extras on the set of Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I believe the character artists really dropped the ball here. Was there no discerning opinions on the studio when these characters were presented? Even on Reset Era, where the hero designs might typically resonate, people overwhelmingly think they're ugly. That should tell you something. Thanks. Yeah,
it should.
KB's what we were talking about kind of earlier.
Yeah, no, it definitely. I love that. Even on Reset Era.
On Reset Era.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's it. Look, it's definitely true. Like, I think a lot of the things that people tend to complain about on the internet are ostensibly, like, when you look at them like on their own, they're very value neutral. Like, I think, like a game being like mega diverse or whatever, I think like on a baseline, I don't think that's like necessarily positive or negative. It's like entirely neutral, and that much shakes up whenever you see games that are, you know, diverse or whatever, or representative, succeed and fail. There's clearly something more to it than just you know, any of this stuff. It's a very, very silly kind of way of looking at it. Like, the fact that there are pronouns on the character screen is like probably, it's not even in the top 100 of Concord's biggest problems.
It's not, probably.
You know what I mean? Like, it's yeah, I don't know. It's just a very one-dimensional way of looking at pretty much everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Concord, we'll see how it does, how long it lasts. It'd be a miracle if it turned around some way. You never know, but
my question to you is, like, do you think they'll because as other games have done this, I remember Evolve did this when that game by Turtle Rock didn't really generate a lot of attention. They pivoted to free to play after some time. Do you think that is going to happen with this, or like at the very least, like maybe this will be brought into like PS Plus or something?
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen for sure. 100%, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it'll take. Maybe not next month, maybe the month after that. I could see. Whenever like a new season starts or something like that too, I could definitely see happening.
Yeah.
I don't know about the game going full free to play, but definitely PlayStation Plus 100%. That's going to happen. Like you have to. You fucking have to. You're dying at right here on your launch time where you're going to have your biggest player base. You got to do something.
Yeah, I saw I saw this image on Twitter about what was it? Lord of the Rings Gollum had like a higher
God
Steam debut, and it's just like, ooh.
Yeah.
That is not good, guys.
No. Yeah, this game's getting shit on pretty hard right now. It's like, it's pretty funny, but like, I understand, dude. Especially if you're like a dev on this game, dude, it's gotta suck so much ass. But God bless. Hopefully something works out. All right. Let's talk about Black Myth Wukong. First of all, Micah, have you seen this game? Do you have any interest in it?
Oh, yeah, no interest personally. Because this is based off that Journey to the West thing, and there's already because I was like, what is this, like Enslaved again? I was like, is this that game again? I realized it's completely different, but I was like, what? Like they're doing it again? All right, no, I don't really have interest in it. I've heard it's like simpler than Souls games, which is a little intriguing, but I don't know if I need this.
Sure. Okay. Chris, you've also been playing, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you talk to me first about your experience so far?
Yeah, so I'm in chapter 2, I think, the desert kind of area. And I'm moving through it. And I don't know how I feel about it really. Like I don't think what I'm playing is bad. Like I enjoy it. I think there's some I think the what I'm getting most out of it, honestly, is just the Chinese kind of flavor. I think it's like really interesting to see, like, to get a window in how they develop games and just the cultural kind of touchstones, and like I think the boss designs are really interesting, and even just like the normal kind of, you know, one hit kind of mobs look interesting, and that's really cool. It's really cool to see a different art style. I love Odyssey to the West. I really like that Enslaved game from a long time ago. So I've got like a real soft spot for that game. It's just so strange. And so I love the source material. Obviously, Dragon Ball is like kind of like some source material to that too. I think, I don't know if it's necessarily like third person, you know, man hits things with stick burnout that I'm experiencing, because I've played so much Elden Ring over the past
I get that.
couple months, that like, even though it doesn't, this is not a Souls-like, right? It's not really, you know, like it's more of like a straight action game.
It has elements, like, but the lines blur.
It's a blurry kind of line. I would say there are Souls-likes, and then there are games that there are third-person games that are modeled after Souls. And what I mean by that is, like, this game definitely, like, when you're moving around in third person, it feels like a Sekiro. It feels like an Elden. It does have like a Souls-like quality to it. In the same way that, like, you know, there's a distinction between FromSoft games and like Infamous or like, you know, Red Dead, where like these are different types of third-person action games that play very distinctly differently. This is definitely more on the Souls side as far as that goes than other things, but it's a lot simpler. It's not as complicated.
It's not as punishing either.
Yeah, the stats sheet is relatively simple. It's got like a traditional kind of action oriented skill tree that's not particularly complicated. It's cool. I think it's cool. The thing that's fucking me up though is that there's no, as far as I know, maybe I'm an idiot, but is there a guard in this? Can I block or what?
You get an ability that's kind of like a block, but pretty much no.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because it's all dodge oriented.
Yeah.
And that's really throwing me off because I can't quite get the dodge. The dodge feels weird to me in this game. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I can't seem to. I'm often surprised when I get a perfect dodge, you know, or like it's often by accident, which feels strange because I feel like I got really good at Elden Ring dodging. Like, I know exactly how to dodge. I know exactly when, and maybe it's just like learning a new kind of
different feel.
Yeah, a different feel. So I've been struggling in that regard, but I think my biggest issue with this so far is that like we're playing as like a monkey king, like a monkey guy, like this. Yeah. But there's so many invisible walls that I've run into, and it feels weird because it feels like, considering like Elden Ring has so few, and you're just like a stiff motherfucker in that game, and you're just like running around, and you could just go anywhere. The fact that like this monkey guy can't climb certain trees or climb certain rocks easily, it there is an element of kind of like I don't want to say on rails because that's not exactly what I mean, but there's a lot more of the environment that you would assume is interactable that isn't. That's kind of strange to me. But it's cool. Like it's I think it's a solid game. Like I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it. It's like a Stellar Blade kind of game to me, where it's just like, yeah, this is a solid,
sure,
action adventure kind of Souls-esque, not quite, but more direct action game. Some light exploration. There's no map, which is kind of a little curious, but I think it's good. I don't know if it's hitting for me right now. I think I might just be burned out on these types of games, though, to be honest, because I played. Granted, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth isn't exactly a Souls game, obviously, but I've played a lot of third-person man with stick
melee
action games, and I love those games. Like, dude, Sekiro and Elden Ring are my. Obviously, I put like 180 hours into Elden Ring, but I think sometimes you just need like
you need a break
between these things.
Yeah.
I think I might come back to it. Yeah, I think I might come back to it later because I do like the presentation. I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to see like Chinese character design and how this studio thinks about boss fights and enemy encounters. Some of them are really cool. Like I thought that that first, oh my god, I can't remember there was like a snake. There's like a snake boss in like a kind of like a water pond. Yeah, in the water, and I thought that was like a really fun fight.
Yeah, it transforms into it. Yeah, that was cool.
So I'm looking forward to playing more of it, but I think I need a break.
Yeah. I'm like a chapter ahead of you, Chris. I'm in chapter 3 right now. And I think the game's really good. I really like it. But it definitely shows me there's like some examples where I'm like, yeah, this is their first game. And I can see it kind of in some areas. And kind of some of it is like you were saying, like the exploration is like it's there. But I feel like usually I'm not really doing anything that cool as Wukong himself. Like I'm not traversing anything in a cool way. I'm a fucking monkey right now. I should be at least be able to climb up a wall or something like that. I'm not getting to do anything like that, which I was hoping I would be able to. I think the combat's actually really fun. I do like the stick, and I don't know. Have you unlocked the other stances for it?
I have so far I have the pillar stance, which I think is dope. Like the one where you could like kind of crawl on top of the
and it like raises you up.
Yeah,
and actually like slam down on them.
It functions as like kind of like a not a dodge, but a way to evade certain moves. I think it's
like a defensive tool. Yeah, it's a defensive tool.
I like the way that the character is expressed in combat. Mm-hmm. But I just wish that there was like a little bit more thought put into like the level design or like level traversal, and as far as that goes, because it really does kind of feel like going from one fight to the other, which might be the point, But
yeah, I think some of the pacing is a little off sometimes in the game too. It feels like you fight bosses way too frequently. Now the bosses are usually really cool and fun, but it's just like too much too quick, and I'm like, okay, let's slow down real quick. And what's interesting in this game is, if you played like any From games or any Souls-like games, this game's much simpler in my opinion so far to get through them. Like I've died on bosses, of course, but I haven't gotten stuck on a boss for like an hour or anything like that. I haven't even come close to that. So it's been kind of interesting. Like I get to a really cool boss, I'm like, oh shit, and you just kill him real quick. And I'm like, well, I didn't even really get to see your moveset that or anything like that. So I kind of feel like I missed out on a lot of you. But I think the first part of the game, chapter 1, obviously the game looks fucking great on PC. I'm playing on PC. It looks fucking insane. This game looks awesome. It runs pretty good. It could probably use a few more patches still, but it runs pretty good for the most part. I like the first one. It's like that jungle forest kind of area. It's much more linear in that whole part. There's like a couple paths you can go verge off to.
Yeah.
But once you get to Act 2, it starts to like really open up more, where you feel like I have a lot more ways to go. It's kind of easy to get lost because, like you said, there is no map. And I was like, oh, where was I? But luckily, you can fast travel between any of the points you unlock. Your bonfire equivalents, I guess
Yeah.
You can back and forth. And I've discovered a couple of secrets, which is cool. Like in the second world, there's like these Buddha statues. They have their eyes. You can collect their eyes. And when you collect all 6 of them, there's a optional boss you can fight when you get all of them.
Oh, cool.
And I also found out some other stuff like unlocking areas in that zone I didn't know how to specifically. Like you can do other stuff to unlock that to get like better loot and all that stuff, which is cool. Like I love all that kind of shit, giving you more incentive to explore and rewarding you as a player. I think that's very important. It's hard to say though, because like I enjoy the game a lot. I need to finish the game obviously to have like a really full opinion about it, but I think it's a really great game so far. I could definitely see this not being a game for everybody, particularly if you don't like action games or Souls-esque games. Like you probably won't enjoy this. It's a little easier to get into, though I will say the difficulty sometimes is like a little all over the place. I feel like some trash mobs are like a joke, and while some of them are like pretty fucking dangerous. But at the same time, it's like if you died, you don't lose anything. It's no big deal. So it doesn't even fucking matter.
Yeah, the consequence of death is really more just like the annoying. It's really more just like, annoying than anything else. You don't really like lose progress or anything, which is nice. It's so funny because like maybe it's just because I've spent so much time in Elden Ring, but like I was having a tough time on these bosses, man. Like I was like, why is this harder? What the fuck's going on? Like what's?
Oh really?
I can't. It's that dodge, man. I think that okay. It's the because there's no block, so it's like you really have to rely on the dodge. And like I just couldn't quite tell where the iframes were. Like I think specifically that bear boss at the top of the mountain when he like becomes like when he becomes like a vague cloud of fire.
Oh yeah, I hated that part.
And I'm just like where and I'm just like where even is it? Like sometimes I can't even tell when it's like coming towards you. It's because it's so like I don't know. It gets a little cute with the amount of particles it throws on screen, a little bit to the game's detriment because it kind of lowers readability, in my opinion.
Sure,
but
yeah, I get that.
But yeah, I don't know. At this point, I think I'm a little bit more adept with it. I've gotten more stance. Also, you can just grind and like level yourself up. You
can unlock stuff to like improve dodge, kind of stuff like that. So
yeah,
those are good things to get right away for new players, I would say. The skill tree I think's been pretty good so far, Chris. There's usually always something I want so far where I'm like, oh, I do want that. I want to save up for that, which is really good. I hate skill trees in games where you just don't even give a shit about what you're unlocking. So far I'm happy with that because there's a lot. And one of the other thing is like, I think the magic system is pretty fun so far that you get. Like,
oh yeah.
The first spell you kind of get is the one that stops,
immobilize.
Freezes them essentially. Really fun. I do like that. And of course you can level all those up and change them up. I got one though that's my favorite is like you make a bunch of like shadow clones or something like that, monkey shadow clones that fight for you, and you can just like beat the shit out of like a boss, just like 10 monkeys, and you just fucking this guy up. It's hilarious to look at. I really am into that.
Oh damn, that's appealing.
And there's like this is interesting, Chris. Is like some of the like one of the bosses earlier on like. He had like that. He was like that fire rat guy. He had like the twin side blade red. Mm-hmm. You beat him, but then you can use this magic spell where you become him in combat.
Yeah,
and you can fight as him, and he has his whole health bar and everything like that, which I thought is really interesting. And like he's got his whole other moves. I think all that stuff's really interesting. I kind of want to see how much more crazy that all that stuff gets. So I think there's enough there. Some of like the pole stances are cool. I don't really like mess around with the other ones too much. I just use the striking one just because you get the charge back and you just fucking club some guy with it and it does good ass damage. But I appreciate that there's variety there for people that want to try it. But yeah, Wukong, cool game. I'm having a good time. I definitely want to finish it. I'll see how I feel. So far, I was like, people have been asking me a lot about it and like what I think. And they compare it to Stellar Blade a lot. And like, I think I like the combat in Stellar Blade more compared to this game because you could parry in Stellar Blade, and I love that kind of shit.
Yeah, the lack of a block or parry is kind of hindering it for me a little bit because I'm just like I don't know. It's That's a really big point of satisfaction in those games, especially in Sekiro, dude. Like parrying is like 50% of the reason why I love that game. I think just feels so good to do it.
And the combos haven't been super engaging yet. You know, you kind of just do your mash button and you hit him with the heavy attack at the end. That's usually about it. I was kind of hoping there'd be more like depth to the combos, but I don't know. Maybe stuff will change as I get further in. But I will say getting some of those hits in with Wukong feels really nice, especially when you get like the last hit in on a combo, does like big damage. You like knock over a boss. It's all really satisfying. All cool stuff. And there's some really cool boss fights in the game. Like he's in Act 2. Chris, I don't know if you got to him. He's like this giant tiger. He's like, think of the tiger from Kung Fu Panda, just huge. And he's like drinking out of like a big river or lake of blood. And you like fight him in this blood where there's all these corpses and shit. It's really cool, dude. He was really sick. It was a sick boss fight.
I'm at the
standout ones.
I'm at like a. It's like I think it's a 2-person fight or something.
Yeah, the rats.
The rats. I think is where I'm at.
Yeah, the Rat King and Prince or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, cool game. Definitely will play more in the future. Probably play more today. Let's see. This is from Crapton Picard, who wrote in it. Hi, Summoners. I have a question for Brad about Black Myth Wukong. I played it for a few hours so far, and while I am really enjoying the game, I'm pretty thrown off by the lack of explanation of the game systems. Aside from a screen that labels what each button does, there is no tutorial or tooltip for any of the new skills you acquire. I'm kind of left to figure out how the mechanics work on my own. Things like combo points, stances, transformations, I'm kind of just figuring out as I go. I was pretty frustrated, but I first gotten used to it. It's kind of fun now, and I'm thinking perhaps I may have been soft by all the handholding in most AAA games. What do you say? How do you feel about this, Chris? Do you feel like the game's explained stuff well enough to you?
I kind of agree that there's like, I don't know if it's a localization issue or what, but like there's some things in the skill tree where I'm like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what this is trying to communicate to me exactly. Because I look, it'll say like, oh, this is enhances all of the proper noun. You know what I mean? Like proper noun. And then you go look through like the upgrades and you look for that proper noun and it's just nowhere to be seen. Mm-hmm. You're just like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm figuring out as I go. I'm not necessarily that bothered by it because I'm just sort of I like figuring things out as I go anyway. Like it would be cool to, I guess, like have a little bit more clarity on that stuff. Like I wouldn't necessarily say no to it, but I don't really mind it, especially just knowing that I know a lot of that stuff is kind of made less important now that I can just look things up. You know what I mean? Sure. That would have been infuriating in like 1999. But I just put it up on my phone. It's like, what's this mean? And then I'll get an answer in like a second. So it's whatever. I do think there's a lack of explaining going on, but that depends on if I'm going to judge it for not explaining things well. I have to know if it's intentional. You know what I mean? Like, do they want you to kind of like fumble around and kind of figure things out, or is it just like a genuine oversight, or is it a localization issue? There's a lot of things that it could be with a game like this in particular. So, there's definitely some learning curve to figuring out like what things mean, and it doesn't really tell you a lot, but it tells you enough, I think.
Yeah, you know? I think there's a learning curve to understand how things exactly work. Like there's this move you can do, which is like your hard attack finisher that you can get iframes if you do it like at the right time. And I was just kind of confused about how that worked for a little bit, but it's definitely one of those games you just got to experiment with some stuff. They give you like a little bit of an idea, but you definitely got to put it into practice to make it really click.
It would bother me a lot more if it was a true Souls game in the sense that like you die and you lose a significant amount of progress.
Right.
Like that, but because death is, really just a minor inconvenience. It's kind of like, whatever. Yeah. You just go.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, figure it out and die and then retry and then you figure it out eventually.
All right. Micah, I've been waiting for this one. Dragon Quest VIII. You've started the 3DS version of this game. Talk to me.
Yeah, I've owned this game for a while, but I just never got around to playing it. And I really just had a hankering to play the 3DS again. And also just having talked to Gene, a lot recently on Punching Up, I was like, I've been thinking about this game that's been in my collection all these years and I never got around to playing it. So randomly, I just said, you know what, let's start it. And I'm about 5 or 6 hours in. really enjoying the game so far. Right off the bat, the music is fantastic. Like, this game has a really great soundtrack. I know I have a bad reputation for listening to podcasts and things during games, but I have made an effort to listen to the soundtrack on this one. It's really good. The voice acting is also very well done. I did start watching Game Grumps videos at a certain point when I was grinding levels, but that felt appropriate. I was grinding levels, you know, that felt fine. But yeah, getting started in the game, a little frustrating. This is my first ever Dragon Quest game. And there is like no tutorial in here. So it is a little bit rough getting started, but there's such a wealth of information on the internet that I was just a couple clicks away from figuring out how the inventory works, figuring out what some of the in-game mechanics mean. Like, just as an example, in battle, you can, like, one of the choices is to like psych yourself up. And it's like, well, what the hell does that mean? Now, it's a bit obvious observing enemies that this kind of is like powering up your next attack, but there's still no like formal explanation of that. And so it's just kind of like going on, you know, guides and things to see like, okay, when exactly should I be using this? And, you know, what's the best kind of strategies for this? The game does not tell you a lot, but I'm enjoying it very much. The battle system is pretty simple and straightforward anyways. It's not like you need a really, you know, heavy tutorial like, you know, Xenoblade or something like that. It's not like that. Right. But it's just a matter of, it was weird to have a game that just threw you into a battle, really didn't tell you anything, and just kind of like, just get started. But it's simple enough to figure out. I like the enemy design a lot. Of course, big fan of Akira Toriyama and his world designs. So it's been interesting to see all these new to me enemies. Of course, I've seen slimes before. You know, they decorate my house, as well as Brad. I see one right behind you. So these are, you know, gaming, you know, like very iconic, you know, figures in gaming. And getting to finally fight them myself and see some of the other enemies, some of them just being really silly. I love these like little fencing foxes that are just so cute. There's these strange cats everywhere. I'm really enjoying the enemy design, the world design. The gameplay is unique in the way that, you know, one aspect, so it's turn-based, but you have no clue when your turn is coming. There's no way to predict when it's going to next be your turn. So I've had to learn to heal my party much earlier than I normally would in a game like this, because you just don't know if you're going to get the next turn or not, or if you're going to be last after 5 enemies wail on you. So I've had to start healing much earlier. Maybe that'll change a little bit. I only have 2 people in my party right now, so battles feel really lopsided when you have like 5 enemies against you. Maybe that'll even out a bit if the party fills out.
It doesn't. Dragon Quest 8 is like, you're ambushed by 9 guys and you're like, oh, fuck.
Well, I'm getting used to it. I am getting the hang of it and making sure to use those healing items sooner. I'm the type of person like Colin to try not to waste items, right? And so it's just getting the hang of, okay, you just have to heal sooner. You can't wait until you're down to 10 health points. You gotta heal up when you're like halfway, basically, because you just don't know if this chain of enemy strikes is just gonna knock you out. But getting the hang of that, it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying the game. The skill point system, I really like. There's a little bit of mystery to it because it doesn't necessarily say what some of these skills do. For example, it's like you're unlocking different spells, and one of them is just called Zoom, and it doesn't tell you what Zoom is until you actually like unlock it. But I'm like, I kind of like the mystery. I don't know, it gives me something like when I was a kid and playing games, and you didn't necessarily always know what this next thing was going to be. Of course, there's plenty of guides and I could look up any of this information, but I'm enjoying that part of the mystique to it. Nice. I'm also really liking how in-depth the skill point, you know, the skill tree is, and tailoring each character to which weapons you want to use, which spells you want to use. The game will play out, you know, very differently depending on which skills and things you choose. I like when skill trees really matter, basically. I like when they give you a lot of choice. So that's been fun to get into and kind of, you know, tailor these guys to the way that I like to play. And the last thing I want to note as just being interesting to me is having to pay to revive your party members, which, you know, and on the one hand, if you had to use like revive items, you're also sort of paying to revive them. I just think it's a unique system to have to, like, you got to go back to the church where you do your game saves and pay the guy to resurrect this person. It's also quite funny because like when you enter a town with your deceased party member, they're like a little coffin dragging behind you, which is just like, it's a little creepy and a little funny to look at. It also makes you say, though, why don't you guys just resurrect everybody? It's like, you know, there's one mission where it's like, oh, this guy died and we're going to avenge him. It's like, why didn't we just fucking resurrect him? Like, so, well, it's like, what's special about my guy? Like,
Yangus?
Well, yeah, it's like, why can I resurrect this weirdo, but we couldn't resurrect like this dude over here, and now we have to go avenge him? I'm like, I don't know, man. Why couldn't we just resurrect that guy? I find it interesting.
That's the
only because
RPG
I'm like,
shit. Every RPG, why can't I just resurrect this character who dies? Like you can your party members.
Right. Yeah, that's why it's like, why aren't we just being KO'd? Right? Why isn't it just listed as I'm knocked out and I've taken you to the inn to recover? And it's like, no, you are deceased. He's in a coffin right now and he needs to be resurrected. And it's like, it's a little weird that you did that, only because the implication that anybody in this whole town could be resurrected, but we just choose not to, is a little funny. The game also, though, gives you a decent amount of money per battle. Huge for me. I cannot stand when JRPGs give you like $0 for fighting, for example. And I'm struggling to remember, it might have been Star Ocean, like Second Story R. It was something I played semi recently where you did not get money for battles. And then you had to just like constantly like hunt around for treasure chests, and like you just had like no money the whole time, and it was really frustrating. This game gives you a decent amount of money per battle, in my opinion. And so far, I have had like no issues with upgrading the armor for my characters, upgrading their weapons. Of course, you know, reviving them, because it did take me a little bit of time to get the hang of this battle system and when to heal. But money has not been a problem, which is really big for me.
Sweet child Micah.
Oh, it's going to get worse.
It's real expensive. At least in the PS2 version, stuff got real expensive. I frequently could not buy everything.
Well, yeah, I am saving my money because I skimmed like an intro guide that did say like, save these items as you get them, like don't use them right away, and also don't buy everything. Like you don't need to buy new armor every time you get to a new town. You don't need to buy new weapons every time you get to a new town, because the jump in quality is not very high, and so strength is what I should say. So I have been following that, and I am doing my best to conserve my money, but so far I've had plenty. So well, now I'm a little scared, but
you're real early.
But yeah, it's been good. Right now I'm grinding some levels because I got to like my first boss that I could not just like beat right away. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna go grind out a few levels, listen to some Game Grumps as I am wont to do. And I'm really enjoying it though.
Yeah, you definitely got to grind at some spots. I don't know about the 3DS version either, but man, Dragon Quest VIII had like such a hard boss lead at some point in the game. I just infamously difficult boss, and I wonder if they changed that kind of stuff. Like they made some nice changes in the 3DS version, like being able to see the enemies on the map. You know, back on PS2, it was just random encounters. You had no idea when you're going to fight, so it was a lot more dangerous because you couldn't avoid enemies as easily.
Yeah, that was something I mentioned to Colin just because he said, do you like games with random encounters? I said, no, I like this one because you see them on the map. You know, I was like a little Tales game. And he goes, oh, it didn't used to be that way. And I said, well, that's huge for me because I do get frustrated by random encounters strictly because when it's a game that has puzzles, for example, and it's like, I just need like 30 seconds to figure this out. And like, you can't stop getting in battles. And it's like, if I could just see it coming, I wouldn't be so frustrated. But random encounters really do. I'm just like, I'm busy. I'm doing something. Like, stop, please. I'm doing something. That like drives me fucking nuts.
I'm doing something.
Exactly. I'm like, please stop. Like, I don't want to fight you right now. I just want to solve this puzzle. I need to push this rock over here, and you keep bothering me. Like, I can't fucking stand that shit. So this has some nice little like quality of life upgrades for me. That's made it better to be a complete beginner to this series.
Yeah. They've added there's 2 new party members in that version also. They were characters in the base game, but now they're party members in the 3DS version, which is really cool. The only like real bummer I think is the music is not orchestrated on 3DS like it was on the PS2 version. So there's a noticeable dip in quality for me from the visual aspects, but probably the trade-offs, everything you get in 3DS probably is just way nicer. Like there's like a new ending and stuff like that and all.
Oh, all right.
Stuff like that to change some endings and stuff. But yeah, man, Dragon Quest VIII to me is like the quintessential I'm going on an adventure kind of game. It is that to a T. It nails it. You do so much fun, cool shit in there. Really good stuff. I can't wait for you to keep playing more of this, Micah. You got to keep me updated on your adventures because I'm so excited that you're going through it right now.
Chris, yeah, and I'll say too, I was going to say the story, they kind of give it to you in bits and pieces, and I like that. You're not, for what the game is, you're not getting stuck watching like super lengthy cutscenes. I don't feel bored by it. They give you the story just bit by bit, and I really like that style. Sometimes I do like a game with 20-minute cutscenes. I love Yakuza, of course I do. But this, just giving me 30-second little snippets of the story at a time is perfect.
Yeah, they have voice acting. In the Japanese version, there was no voice acting. That was something they did for the West because they knew we would be upset about that at that time.
And it's really good.
Yeah. Chris, any interest in Dragon Quest at all since you love Akira Toriyama?
Yeah, I do. I think I tried...
By 11?
I think I tried Dragon Quest. Is that the one that's like... Oh my god, hold on. Let me just look it up. Because I'm pretty sure...
The character kind of looks like Android 17.
Yeah. Yeah, this is... Yeah. I tried this one, and I didn't hate it. I think it was cool. I think generally... this... Like, what I'm looking for out of games is generally just not serviced by, like, this genre, generally. Like, I like the simulated reality. I like the physics. I like, breaking, like, oh, can I go up there, like, and trying to get up there and like failing or succeeding or whatever. And I think I have to be like in a really particular mood to play a game like this, Yeah. And totally it's very rare that I am. Like, I think I played like even the original Pokemon games. Like, I remember, like, I don't think I ever beat them. I played them endlessly, but I think I just leveled up my Pokemon so I could just go to other people and destroy them, in with the system link or whatever the hell it was. So, yeah, I don't know. Dragon Quest is probably on the outskirts for me, I think.
Yeah. You beat Final Fantasy VII Remake, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So, wow, we got one. Chris made it through one. Dude, that's fucking good, dude.
And I'm 35 hours into Rebirth.
Holy shit.
I was just like, I have to put this down for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it was getting... That game's long as hell,
You did them back to back.
Too, yeah, I did do them back to back. So I think I did
Suicidal.
It felt like one huge game, and it felt like, okay, this is cool, but at the same time, like, goddamn. So I think I have like my own kind of internal canon of where these games end, where it's like the first Final Fantasy VII Remake ends at Gold Saucer to me, and I'm just waiting until enough time has passed that I could kind of pick it up again. It's like, oh, it's the sequel where there's like 50 hours left.
Yeah,
but I do want to get back to I do like Rebirth a lot. I actually like spent an absurd amount of time in that game grinding, and I think I 100%ed the first every area up until Gold Saucer. I 100%, like I did everything there was to do in those areas, which is not usual for me. Like, I didn't give a shit about that in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I was just like, oh, you want me to find your cats? Have fun. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I just gotta, sometimes games just, I don't know if overstay their welcome is the right way to say it, but it's just like there's a lot, and sometimes you need they
overstay their welcome.
Yeah,
they do. Dude, like I I did not play Final Fantasy VII, remake or rebirth, but just watching Colin play it, I was like, this shit is too long. I'm sick of it. I was sick of looking at it. I was just like, please stop. And then it's like, oh, and there's going to be another one. You couldn't finish it in 2 long ass games. There's going to be another one. I was just like, this is crazy.
It's good.
It's absurd.
It's good.
It's not that good. It's not that good.
It is that good.
No, it's not, Brad. I watched the whole thing through.
Give me the thing.
I was just like,
played it. I loved every second of it. Give me more.
I like look, I like those games. I think they're the ones that like I jive with the most. There's definitely parts of them that I hate. Like I hate that stupid hand puzzle in Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's so dumb and tedious. But I like the story. I like the vibe. The soundtrack is killer. I think the voice performances are great. I think there's enough there to carry me through it. I just, at the same time, it's like, it's like watching all of Breaking Bad in like 3 days. You know what I mean? Like you gotta, you gotta let things breathe a little bit. And I think that's where I'm at with Rebirth. I'll come back to it for sure.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I'm ready to. And I went from that to Elden Ring, and then from that to Wukong, and it's just like I need a completely different. Like I've been playing all sorts of weird shit. I've been playing fucking Crash again.
Dude,
just to get a palate cleanser,
I see your like what you're playing on Discord, and it's like the most schizophrenic.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Playlist ever.
It's all over the place. It's Starfield,
Master Chief Collection,
Master Chief Collection. It's Helldivers. It's Crash Bandicoot. It's Tetris Effect. It's fucking. I downloaded Civilization because it was like $5 or whatever, and I was like, oh, there's a new one coming out. I should see if I like this. And Civ 6, I think, was $5, and I was like, that's a pretty good steal.
Oh man!
By the way, $5 for Civilization, $40 for Concord. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, we're rough.
Have you guys seen? By the way, it's like this mental health commercial with the Final Fantasy VII characters. I saw this on actual TV.
No,
because I was like, what the hell is this? And it's like Aerith's being like, "Are you okay, Cloud?" And it's like, it's about checking on your friends. Oh. And I was like, what is this? And Colin and I are looking at the TV like mesmerized by this fever dream commercial about mental health starring, Aerith, Cloud, and the gang. And I was like, what the hell just happened on my television? Like I was just watching.
Wow.
And it was on, I believe this was on during one of the preseason football games. So this was, it's not like I was on a weird channel, okay? Like we're watching normal people television and this was on screen. I was like, what the hell just happened? What is this campaign? I mean, if we're going to make Cloud the fucking like mascot for mental health, okay, we could have, this is all wrong. This is all wrong.
It's a really terrible mascot.
Oh my God, dude.
He's literally schizophrenic.
He has a lot of mental health.
He's having a hard time.
He's having a hard time.
And they're like, check on your friends.
That is insane.
Make sure he's all right. Let's see. This question's from Nevitz. Micah, what did you name your hero in Dragon Quest? I always title myself Da Bitch. So the game comes up with funny sentences. My favorite sentence was when a devil tried to make my hero dance. It was ineffective, and the game said, "The bitch doesn't get it," or "The bitch doesn't get it."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's such a simple joy in those games. Like even just like putting curse words as your Pokemon character, and I love it.
Yeah, no, I like doing funny things like that. I named my character Barl, which is like Carl with a B. And I mentioned to you, Brad, I did that almost by accident. I don't know what happened. My brain shut off for a second when I loaded up the game and it said, "What is your name?" And I was like, Barl would be funny. And I typed it in all caps. And then it was like, like, that's your name. And I was like, oh shit, that's not what I intended. I don't know why. Like my brain literally just shut off for half a second and was like, I'm not naming the character. He's just asking me what my name is.
It's because you got Game Grumps
crazy.
Game Grumps brain. You're fried. It's over.
Yeah.
Dude.
I don't know what the fuck happened. But it works. I wish I hadn't put it in all caps because it stands out a little too much. But I was like, Barl, like that's his name. But it is a perfect name. It's working. He jives well with the rest of the cast, I feel.
Every time I love like anytime a game lets you name any. I like that in Starfield too. You can name your ship whatever you want, and in Red Dead 2 you can name your horse whatever you want. And I remember I remember naming my horse Halo 3 because I thought it was funny.
That's sick. That's a good name.
It was just the dumbest fucking thing because you'd get like a prompt in Red Dead. It was like, would you like to feed Halo 3 or like, what the fuck? This looks so stupid. But
oh my
that's
god,
awesome, dude.
I think I named mine Mr. Belvedere after the beloved television show. I mean, instant. Everybody loves that show. Everybody remembers it.
Yeah,
no one could ever forget. Mr. Belvedere and I had a great time together.
I think my second horse after I'm not gonna actually never mind. I named it Bacon Slanger, and I like that one a lot.
That's a good name. Yeah, that's a real good name.
I mean,
Bacon Slanger, my horse.
We were all naming them in the first game regardless. I always named the horses, and there's a scene actually in the first game. My game glitched, and Nigel West Dickens stole my horse. Because I was working on the achievement for doing a certain number of missions with the same horse, and I was like 3 missions away. And then he showed up and just like rode away on my horse. And I was like, wait a minute, like, Mr. Butter, where are you going? Because it was Mr. Butter. And I was like, what the fuck? And he just stole him right out from under me. And I had to start with a new horse. That was Mr. Brown. I had to do a whole new thing. He got hit by a train. I barely got that achievement because everybody was just fucking up my horses.
Dude, the trains will destroy. Every horse that died in that game for me was a train, inexplicably. Like,
that's so funny.
It was always.
Man, I'm trying to think of horse names I had. Breath of the Wild, I think my horse was named Walter. I think he was like the horse I used the whole time. And in Tears of the Kingdom, I brought him back from the dead. Walter 2.
Yeah.
Alrighty, it's time for Sort It Out on this segment. We talk about something that needs sorting in the games industry. Could be a company, a game, developer, whatever. Micah, let's start with you. Who needs sorting? And it's okay if you don't have one. Sometimes something doesn't need sorting.
Oh, no, I've been a champion of Daddy Phil Spencer for his whole term, as he's been working at Xbox. And Kitten is not pleased, Daddy. Kitten's not pleased at all. You bought Kitten those companies. That was real nice of you to do. But Daddy Phil, this just isn't working. Your messaging, your lies. He's turned into like the Dr. Fauci of gaming, just in the regards of like everything. You told me one thing and then you were like, look, it was wrong. Okay, I admit it. And I'm like, well, why? Like, what's going on? And I don't know. I feel like I can't trust him anymore. It's a sad day when Kitten can't trust Daddy anymore, but that's the world we find ourselves in. Phil Spender, you got to figure this out. You got to get your messaging, all in one basket, all in going in the right direction. I mean, they're going to bring back Don Matrick at this rate. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
I want to help Phil. I really do. I'm a big fan of Phil, but I don't know, Phil, you got to figure this shit out.
Figure it out. All right. Chris, anything for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a jarring way to say that, but yes, I feel somewhat similarly. I feel just Microsoft in general is just in a weird position, and I don't really understand. It kind of feels like it feels like they're edging. And it's just like, get it over with.
Into destruction.
Yeah, it's just like, get it. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know what. Like, it feels like they're just stringing everybody along for like an inevitable, like, hey, everything's everywhere now. But like, they just can't commit to it. It's just a very awkward time to be in. And look, on some level, I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of interesting that they're probably pivoting towards like a more third party kind of Sega style existence. I think that's, I mean, the idea of Halo on PlayStation is dope. Like, I think that's really exciting, so I don't feel like betrayed or anything. I'm just confused as to how they can continue to justify this without, like, I don't understand how people don't see this as like obvious writing on the wall when it's so clearly what it is. You know what I mean? Like, you don't put the fact that Indiana Jones got a release date and then just one more thing was like, oh, it's coming to PS5 later. It's just like, well, what are we doing here? Like, are you a console manufacturer or are you a publisher? because that's kind of what it's feeling like now. It's like they're teetering between the two, and I don't think you can really be both in the way that is traditional anyway. So sort it out, Microsoft. Get your messaging together. Either rip the Band-Aid off or put it back on, but like do something.
I think their message is kind of loud and clear. If you're listening enough of them being like, yeah, we're going third party, but we're just going to drag our feet the whole way and give you brief glimpses of hope. Yeah, it's annoying. I agree. It's very annoying. My sorted out is, it wasn't technically Microsoft at the time, but Activision related with, there's recently came out, we talked about this on Punching Up, Micah, about a Crash Bandicoot game, a Crash Bandicoot cross Spyro game that was in development for a little bit, but got canceled, denied by Activision. I'm just like, man, that would have been so cool, man. Crash games, dude. Like, people loved Crash 5, and it's like, it didn't sell as well as the other ones, so they just said, fuck you, I'm not giving you this game. And it sold still respectably well. Just brutal, man. Could have had a really sick crossover that people would have loved. Chris would have fucking lost his shit.
Dude, I can't even fucking tell you. Like, when I first saw this, I the only thing that came to mind was that picture of Vegeta looking up in the rain.
Yeah,
so I posted it. It's just
right,
like,
yeah.
And I was just like, God damn it, man. That's so sad. Because and somebody commented under it, they were like, well, what? So you want like so now you want crossovers or whatever? And it's like, no, you don't understand how different this is. Like, it was never like, no one was like, I love Spyro, fuck Crash, you know what I mean? Like, no one, that was never like, they were always like in tandem with each other. They were the two de facto mascots of the original PS1. They carried the identity of that generation along with Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy VII. And them being together in like a proper game was always so obvious, and it was just something that we were just like kind of waiting for. We got it kind of. There was like this weird like Game Boy Advance kind of duology of games where I think it was like Spyro in Crash's world and Crash in Spyro's world. I can't remember the names of them. Yeah, but they were for the Game Boy Advance. You know, it's like their budget. Yeah. They're not. Those aren't like the AAA thing. And so the idea that we almost had like a AAA version of that was like, or not triple. You know what I mean? Like a proper
high budget game,
high budget like console version of that concept, and then they killed it, is mega depressing. Because look, man, the Insane Trilogy is great. I was playing a little bit of it last night. I think I'm going to try and at some point this year platinum at least one of those games, or a few of them, because those games are just great. Crash Bandicoot's sick. Crash Team Racing is fucking one of the best kart racers ever made, if not the best one. And then Crash 4 was unreasonably good as well. Like the idea that like Crash 4 could come out that many years after it and be that good still and that challenging from a completionist perspective, that game's like Dark Souls. like that is a tragically difficult game to like 100%. And it's so well designed, and it's got such good vibes on it. It has so many interesting ideas and so many interesting mechanics, and the idea that this was just kind of killed in the cradle is so sad.
Yeah, it hurts, man.
Yeah, bummer.
Fuck you, Bobby, son of a bitch. All right, let's hear from the audience. This is from Luke Bernhard. Greetings, summoners. Sending a strong sorted out to Game Science. Don't get me wrong, I'm loving Black Myth Wukong, but how can you have performance issues when navigating menus? Just seems crazy. I expect a level of technical issues from a developer's first foray into AAA space, but I shouldn't have to wait entire seconds for menu movements to register. Is anyone else experiencing this? Thanks for the constant stream of content. No, Luke, I haven't personally not experienced anything like that. Maybe if you're playing on PlayStation, I don't think the PlayStation port's probably that great, so I don't really know about. Chris, have you run anything like this?
Not necessarily. Like, I don't think so. Like, I am playing on PS5 just because I kept hearing weird things about the PC version, and like I wasn't sure if my rig was gonna run it, because I have a friend who has a rig that's like a little bit stronger than mine, and he had to like back up drivers on like a USB to get it working, and I was just like, that's fucked. That is so tedious. I don't even want to begin to think about that. So I'll just whatever. I don't care about fidelity anyway. As long as I get a performance mode and I can play at 60, the game could look like fucking. The game could look blurry as hell. I could really give a fuck. But no, I haven't experienced like lag in the menus or lag really ever. You might just be You might just be playing on quality mode, which, you know, sacrifices frame rate, which I just will never do in my entire life. But it's funny that he said this because it's like, oh, I should never have performance issues when navigating menus. And I had an immediate flashback to Borderlands 3 when that came out and how the menus would chug. And I would just be trying to upgrade my character. I would just try to unlock a skill tree or something, and it would take ages and it would be sluggish and weird. And I remember thinking at that time, it's like, how the fuck are there performance issues in the menu?
Yeah.
I remember that was mind blowing to me that could even be possible.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully this patch or something will help you, Luke. All right, this is from Sean Mason. Greetings, summoners. I don't like being negative, but sorted out to those at Activision Microsoft who decided to cancel Crash Bandicoot 5. Yesterday, Did You Know Gaming shared a detailed video about the canceled project, and it sounded incredibly promising, even featuring a crossover version or crossover with Spyro. It's heartbreaking to think that my beloved Crash Bandicoot franchise might be over. Best, Sean M. Well, Sean, now you know how it feels to be a Banjo-Kazooie fan. It's fucking over, dude.
It's so sad. At least, look, man, we got a lot out of Crash.
You got a lot of great Crash games. I got 2 good Banjo games and one.
We got a lot of
terrible Abomination.
We got a lot of great Crash games. Even some Crash games that are like okay, they're still pretty fun. Like I remember playing like Twin Sanity back in the day and thinking it wasn't bad, but it was very different. You know what I mean? It's very different kind of game. But yeah, dude. I don't know if I necessarily wanted more Crash, but I was like satisfied. I was like, oh my God, they did a 4th one and it's great. Oh, leave it alone. But the only exception that I would have made for a new Crash game that I would have been excited for was if Spyro was involved. And the fact that that's what I don't even know if I have the heart to like watch this Did You Know Gaming video because I just don't. What's the point in knowing about it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get sad.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, it's like watching a funeral for a friend.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get a little more positive. Whoops. Keep it up. Time. Micah, do you have anything this week? The exact opposite of sorted out, by the way. Good shit.
Honestly, I don't. Aside from,
sucks.
Gamers, keep it up dunking on Concord. Don't let people tell you, oh, you can't make fun of games. All right. Now, don't harass devs. All right. Don't be mean to actual people, but you can dunk on a game all you want. A game's not a person. The game is what you dunk on it. Continue doing so. I find this very funny.
Chris, what about you?
I searched high and low for something to continue cheering on, and I could not in good faith find anything. I thought maybe it would be funny to be like keep it up Concord, but I don't know if that really is even in good taste. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have anything.
Good taste.
I tried too. Like last night I was like, is there something that I really think is going really well right now? And like outside of like I guess Valve, keep it up. You know, like they're doing some good stuff. The Steam Deck is like a really transformative piece of equipment for me. Like it is like top 3 consoles in my mind. Easy. It's just so revolutionary to me. And just, you know, that Deadlock is out or not out. You know what I mean? It's playable for a lot of people and people seem to be enjoying it. And I don't know. They seem to be doing well. Not outrageously successful or anything, but like, you know, they're holding their own. They're not floundering like everybody else seems to be.
Right.
So that's good. So I would say keep it up, Valve, if anything.
Yeah, my keeper is going to be Valve for Deadlock. Finally being able to talk about it. I've had it for a little bit, and being able to play it publicly is very nice. You know, and I love
So is there like an embargo up until, or like a loose embargo up until now?
There was a thing about it when you signed in. It's like, please don't tell anyone you're like playing this game, or like, please don't talk about the game at all. Essentially, stuff like that. So no one could stream it, but a bunch of people were playing it. But now you can actually talk about it and play it. So that's good. And I'm just happy. Like, I love Valve games. Really happy to see a new type of game from them. Even though MOBAs aren't my favorite, I used to like MOBAs back in the day. But I like Deadlock when I've played of it, so I'm happy for them. And also, there's like the rumors of them actually doing Half-Life 3. So if you fucking actually do Half-Life 3, dude, I don't even know what's gonna happen in the gaming world. That would be like a holiday or something if that game actually comes out. All right. Let's hear from the audience. This is from Ricardo Chavez. Greetings, summoners. Sending a strong keep it up to Raven Software. The recent slice of the Black Ops 6 campaign at Gamescom has me looking forward to the single player again. The story they crafted in Cold War and now this proves to me they excel at melding summer blockbuster action with a spy thriller, akin to Medal of Honor Frontline. So shout out to Raven for actually trying, unlike the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. Ricardo. That's awesome.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Dude, when I reviewed Call of Duty World War II, and I remember they worked on it, and the review event was at Raven Software's HQ in Wisconsin. I went there to do it. Really cool place, really cool people, so I'm happy to see them still trucking along.
Yeah. I haven't played a Call of Duty campaign. I haven't played a Call of Duty campaign like fully since Modern Warfare 2, I think, like the original.
Chris, that was me, except I had to play 2 for work. I had to play both the World War II ones for work.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, the Modern Warfare 2 would have been like the last campaign I actually played through.
Yeah, and I heard really good thing, and I didn't play any of the Black Ops. I played Black Ops multiplayer. I played Black Ops 1 multiplayer. I know a lot of people have a lot of good things to say about it. I played a little bit of Cold War. And not that I didn't like it, but the campaign on console anyway didn't have an FOV slider, so I was like, I'm out. I can't do it. It feels like I'm playing this game through a magnifying glass, and it's nauseating. I don't understand why games still do that. By the way, Concord, PS5, no FOV. So yeah, I really just don't get it. But I've been curious about this, man, because this game looks really good. Like, I don't know, like something about Black Ops 6 has like, it's got an aura around it where I just feel like it's going to be good, and like it's enticing me. But it's also the 6th game in a campaign in a story that I don't know. Is it Micah, do you know? Like, I know that you're a Call of Duty person.
Oh God, I don't play the campaigns. No. Oh, who
Not
cares?
At all?
I don't really like them. You play a couple missions, you're like, that's fine. Let's get back into multiplayer. I'm 100% into Call of Duty for the multiplayer. The Black Ops storyline is so convoluted. It's like it is the epitome of military man, go here, go there. You don't really know what the fuck is going on. It makes no sense. And I was just like, these aren't very good. They never are very good. Call of Duty Ghosts was the best campaign they ever did. And then it ends on a cliffhanger and they'll never return
didn't everyone
to it.
hate that one?
The multiplayer is what we hated. The multiplayer was bad, but the campaign was excellent. But the multiplayer wasn't great. It just didn't feel good. I know it's too much to get into. But no, Call of Duty campaigns after Ghosts, I really kind of dipped out on them.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about maybe going back because I play a lot of, like, I'm a big shooter guy, but Call of Duty like always kind of bothered me because it didn't really cater to. There was something about it that, and again, I don't think on rails is the right way to describe this, but I don't have a better term. But like, there's something about Call of Duty that feels like I'm very stapled to the ground. I don't know.
They funnel you to set piece kind of.
Yeah, even multiplayer wise, like I ended up just playing a lot of like offbeat first person shooters. Like I played like a lot of like Section 8 and like Cell Factor Psychokinetic Wars and just like weird, just like strange stuff. And I haven't played a mainline Call of Duty campaign in over like a decade. It might be time. I don't know, because I hear good things about Black Ops 1 and 2. So maybe those are the ones that I'll dive into and check out, because I know I own them somewhere. Like I have them.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Well, I hope the new Call of Duty is good. I heard the last campaign was awful, but
Modern Warfare 3 was apparently pretty terrible.
I'll get it for like $11 on Game Pass for a month. Sure.
Yeah.
That's all. 1 month and I'm out. All right, this is from Combat Sneeze. Hey guys, I just want to issue a keep it up to the Diablo 4 team. Season 4 got me addicted again, and Season 5 is even better. I'm excited for the expansion, but not confident enough to pre-order it. Have any of you tried Diablo 4? Thanks and always for the great show. Diablo 4, I played a lot of the campaign. I haven't finished it, though. I was like at the end, though. I should probably finish it, and I thought it was pretty fun. I played a necromancer in it, and I had a bunch of corpses following me around that I was blowing up. That was pretty sick. But what about you guys? Diablo 4 at all? Interested?
No, I don't know.
That's
Diablo is weird because like I played Diablo 3 when it came to console because a friend of mine was like, "Hey, we should do like couch co-op Diablo. You can do that now." It's like, "Okay, cool." And I did, and I liked it actually, like quite a bit. This is way after the the auction house.
This was years later
at launch. Yeah, but I liked it, and I think I have vague memories of being really fucking young and playing 2. I think.
Yeah, you probably did.
When was 2? When was? But I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Like I was 2 was like 2000 or something.
Yeah, 2000. So like that was I would have been like almost 7 around, you know. So I was not playing that game correctly. I just remember having like I have a lot of nostalgia for the way that game looks. There's something about the presentation in that game that I really, really like. But I was absolutely just mashing buttons and not doing it. It's like how I used to play Command and Conquer Red Alert. It's like, yeah, I played it, but there's no shot that I understood fucking anything about what I was doing in that game.
Yeah.
So my experience with Diablo is like kind of like all over the place. I like it. I just don't know if I like it enough to spend $60 or like full price on it. If anything, I would like jump into it when it's like super cheap on a Steam sale and
it's maybe be
pleasantly surprised. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I don't know if I have game. I have to check.
Well, the base game is, not the expansion. All right. Let's see. Chris, dude, let's talk about System Shock. You've been playing this. Colin recently went through this as well, but now it's your turn. How you liking it?
Yeah, dude, I love it. I'm completely enamored with this game, this vibe. I don't even know what you call it, but like this game has an ambience that I'm super, super into. I love space station, like derelict space station, space horror. I love all that stuff. Give me Halo, Dead Space. And this is kind of like there's like an element of space BioShock here, which is cool. It's not exactly, but there's obviously some DNA here.
There's connection there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection, and I'm so into it. I'm also like trying my best to go through this game without a guide. It's very, very hard from that perspective because it is so obtuse. Like there's definitely some elements of this game that are like classic Resident Evil puzzles where it's like, how the fuck was I supposed to know this? Like why would I assume that this is where I would have to go to find the numbers in this order to do this thing? Like I've had to consult one guide because I was like stuck for like 2 hours on this one thing. It was like, I don't know, I just straight up don't know where the fuck I'm going. And it's very old school, it's very obtuse. It doesn't necessarily tell you, it doesn't give you like a current objective or anything like that. It's very much like you just got to remember, and you got to like maybe sift through the dialogue or maybe sift through audio diaries and text diaries to find the little clues as to what you're supposed to do. And even then it's very cryptic and very strange. But even with that, man, like there's something about immersive sims, and there's something about this setting that I really like. I like the presentation where it's kind of retro, but not really. It's like high fidelity retro is like the best way that I could describe it, because it does have like modern lighting. It's you know, it's got a lot of visual effects going on. It looks pretty, but when you walk up to things, there's like kind of like a lo-fi kind of like purposely lo-fi texture kind of style going on. It's simplistic, but not divorced from reality exactly. It's got a very surreal kind of atmosphere and a very surreal kind of feel to it, even to the point where like when mutants when you run into mutants eventually, they look so uncanny and weird. Like they almost look funny, but like they look funny in a way that's like unsettling. Like I don't even like it works like for whatever it is. And there's a really cool effect that I'm not really educated on the original System Shock as it is. I know System Shock 2 a lot more in depth, but if you use this power up called Berserk, which gives you like this crazy boost in strength with your melee weapon, and you could just like bash the shit out of robots with it. It's super fun to use, but it makes you go crazy. And the way it illustrates that is it shows like kind of transparent kind of like visions of like sprites from the old game. So like you think so you think you'll see like a mutant, but it's like it's from like old System Shock, and it gets like blurry and weird, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck is that? It's really cool. It's like a really, really neat idea. It's something that I was immediately like, I smiled the second I saw it. I was like, that's so cool. But yeah, it's scratching this BioShock kind of itch, this like, you know, scavenging for supplies, scavenging for weapons and ammo and food and health pickups, and listening to audio diaries and reading text logs, and you're being like harassed by this villain character that is like really hypnotizing to listen to. Shodan, the AI in this game is so well performed, and I think it's still the original actress who did it from the original game, which is cool. But it's like, that's cool. But it's like, yeah, as far as I understand, I could be mistaken, but I know it's the same actress. I don't know if it's like redone. I don't know if it's the same voice lines from the old game or if it's like redone for the new game. But I heard that it was redone for the new game, so that's cool. Like she kills it. It's really, really. I liken it to almost like. Not in the same style, obviously, because like Borderlands 2 is a very, very different game. But like the way that Handsome Jack was just kind of like really exciting to listen to whenever that game came on. It's like, or whenever he showed up in that game, it was like the most grounding and most tangible part of that universe. Is kind of like the way that Shodan is, where it's like it's a lot more menacing and a lot more cryptic and a lot more unsettling. But every time she speaks, I just like I had a friend over while I was playing, and he was kind of like guiding me through it. He was like reading the guide to help me get to the number code or whatever. And then Shodan's voice came up, and I was like, shut up. It is so good. But yeah, I'm still generally playing without a guide. I'm trying to go. If I like bash my head against the wall for like 2 hours, then I'll like consult something. But yeah, generally I'm trying to go through at my own pace. And so I'm spending a lot more time in this game than probably is normal because I am getting lost a lot. But it's fun. It's really cool. Like going back, it's like, oh, it almost feels like you played Dead Space Remake, right? You know how they took a game that was like based on levels, and they kind of built all the levels and like connected them in a way that like you kind of get a sense for the spaceship. You kind of get a sense for the Ishimura. You get a sense for this space station. Because there's elevators that take you from like maintenance to, you know, storage to medical to engineering. And, you know, like as you spend more time like going through them and like looking for pickups and stuff and looking for secrets, of which there are many, you just kind of get a sense of like, oh, I need more batteries. Oh, I got to go to engineering because that's where the charge is. It's like and you get to know the place, I guess, in the same way that you guys were talking a little bit about those Yakuza maps that they reuse from game to game. It's just like it becomes like familiar. And I like that the game keeps you on your toes sometimes because like you'll go back to places that you've cleared and then there'll be just like enemy presence all of a sudden, and it shakes things up really well. And yeah, I'm really enamored with this game. It's I really like immersive sims. I like that it gets me into this mindset of really almost like being a kid again, playing with like action figures, where you're really trying to sell yourself on a world where it's like I'm in this space station now. Like I'm not, like no one's around me. I don't want to think about the election or fucking my Twitter or like my Twitter feed or anything. I'm just like, I'm here and I'm in this place. How would it feel to be here? And it's really hypnotizing in that way. So I really like it. I'm about, let me see how much time I have. I've been playing it primarily on the Steam Deck also, by the way, which is
okay.
Really, a really good Steam Deck game. It's a really cozy kind of game in a weird way. Trying to find exactly how much time I have put into it. Why is it not showing up? That's weird. Anyway, it's really good.
Like synced.
Yeah, maybe it hasn't synced. Yeah, cool. 13 hours.
Okay, nice.
So
yeah,
I'm still so early into it though. It's embarrassing, but I'm getting lost so much.
That's okay though, as long as you're having fun. It's part of the experience.
Great, yeah, super good.
Micah, any interest in this game?
Oh no, I mean I watched Colin play it, and it was cool to see. But the whole time he's playing it, it's just things that aren't clear, are not obvious to the player what to do next. And it's not my type of thing at all. I do not like feeling like a complete fish out of water in a game and just having no clear direction at all. I love being told what to do. I love directions. You don't have to, not complete hand holding, but oh my God, I love being told what to do. So that it loses me in that regard for sure.
Cool. Let's see. Christopher Molinato's Uncle Lucho wrote in, "Good morning, gamists and my beloved nephew, Christopher, Miho. How are you enjoying System Shock Remake? I'm interested in trying it out, but I have two major questions. How present is the story? Are there a decent amount of audio diaries and text logs? Secondly, are there any modern gaming or game conveniences you feel are missing? Things like good subtitle size, a map, quest log, and conversational history are all good examples. Thanks so much. Signed, in my favorite tracksuit, definitely your Uncle Lucho."
Yeah, man.
Uncle Lucho.
So distressing that people even know about this person. But how present is the story? It's pretty present. It's a lot more present than I thought it would be, honestly. Like it's there's a lot of audio diaries. There's a lot of text logs to sift through. It's very involved from that perspective, but like it really is kind of up to you to keep track of it. It's you really have. There's a lot of information like hidden in these things, and my instinct in a lot of games is to just I pick up a thing that like gives me lore on the world, and 9 times out of 10, I'm like, cool, that's going into the inventory, and I'm never reading that. Like in most games, like I'm just like, this is cool, but like I'll read this if I finish the game and I love it. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about it. But I think there's a lot of story here. There's a lot of context here. Like it's not necessarily difficult to figure out what you're supposed to do. It's just kind of like, it's just obtuse and not really well defined. Like there's one puzzle that like I looked through every single text log. I listened to every single audio diary again. No fucking clue how I was supposed to figure this out. Where like there's a randomly generated code that is displayed on like certain doors, and you would really only know like, and each number is it's very bizarre. And I think the weird thing too is that like System Shock, the one thing that I think maybe gets in its own way a little bit is because there's so many bright lights and there's so many like, this sounds so strange, but in a lot of video games, things of consequence, things of importance are usually designated by like, lighting. You know what I mean? A lot of game designers will use lighting to direct the player into going to the direction that they want to go to. I think about even the shotgun when you pick it up in the original BioShock, how it's like in the middle of the floor and there's like a spotlight on it. In System Shock, everything it's very dark and there's flashing like sci-fi lights everywhere. So you can't really rely on that. Like, oh, green light means I can interact with it. You know what I mean? Like in like a Halo game where it's like, oh, green light, I can interact with that. That's a button. And this, a green light could just be like a panel on the wall, or just like it's really difficult to distinguish what is and isn't important just at a glance, which I think could turn off a lot of people. But I actually found it a little bit more engaging because it made me like have to pay a lot more attention to my surroundings, which I don't know if that's necessarily the intended consequence of that or like whether that was intentional or not, but it's how it affected me. And I think it's really cool. Really, the only thing that I think is really lacking is I would like to know, at the very least, like a quest log or like what my current objective is, because it can get a little tricky remembering like, oh, what did there was like I know I have to do that because I heard it in an audio diary, but I've heard like 3 other audio diaries since then because I'm exploring. And so I'm like learning about the world and learning about characters that may or may not be dead right now. And so it gets difficult to figure out like what is important in the moment and what is important to the world. And I think just having like a quest log or even just like current objective, which by the way, for all I know, might be in the game and I haven't found it yet. You know what I mean? It's it's like a very strange game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. It's very old. There's very old school. There's some jank with it for sure. But I think it's like what it's accomplishing from a narrative perspective and from an ambience perspective and just from like selling this feeling, I think is I think it's really special. And I think if you can handle that kind of thing, if you're the kind of player that can jump into a game that's old and kind of meet it for what it is and kind of understand like, okay, well, this is from 2000. I'm not expecting it to play like, Elden Ring or whatever. I think you can have a good time with this. But I do know that not a lot of people are like that. Because I had friends telling me that like, oh, I shouldn't play Knights of the Old Republic because I didn't grow up with it. And I'm just not going to be able to forgive the jank. But I really liked it. And I played the game for the first time in like 2022 or something, 2021.
Oh, wow.
So like, and I have no nostalgia for Star Wars either. And I liked what they were doing still. But I think that's also like just kind of how I consume games. Like I very much understand where games are and I can meet them where they're at. And I know a lot of people, either don't or choose not to or whatever. But I think it's worth trying if you're into video game history and just like seeing where games like BioShock really originate, because dude, there's a lot of BioShock in this. Like even like you pick up a wrench at one point and it's just like, this is sick. This feels right.
Nice. All right, let's talk about Deadlock, Valve's new MOBA shooter. Finally, it has been in private for a while. People have been playing for a while, but now we can all finally talk about it. I've played about maybe like 4 matches of this, I want to say. Chris, how much have you played of this game? Maybe like 1 round?
Not even really much. I messed around with I think there's like a training thing where you can kind of training thing. Yeah, so I did a little bit of that. I did that with like 2 characters that I don't really remember. I haven't put much time into it. Like literally like probably like cumulatively like 20 minutes. But like I like the visual style of it, and I've been thinking about it. I do want to play it again. I'll probably play it again later today. But I don't have a good feeling of like how it plays quite yet. I just saw that it was a MOBA and I kind of was like, oh no. I kind of felt a little sad about that because I don't love MOBAs. I don't like League of Legends. I played in college for like a week. I played League of Legends and I was like, yeah, I get it, I think. But I've heard good things about this, like from people who have stuck with it. So like I'm definitely eager to check it out.
Yeah. So I guess my history with MOBAs is I liked Dota 1 when it was the Warcraft 3 mod. I played a lot of it back then when it came out. And after like League came out and Dota 2, I kind of just never really played MOBAs again. Well, I played a little bit of Heroes of the Storm with the Blizzard one for a little bit, but other than that, not so much. But yeah, I loved Valve shooters. Like TF2 is one of my favorite multiplayer games of all time. I fucking adore that game. So I was always kind of hoping to get some new multiplayer from them. And we finally did. But yeah, so it is very much, this is so weird because it is a hero MOBA shooter, but MOBA characters are like hero shooter characters. You have 3 abilities and an ult, and that's just the way it is. Like it's like Overwatch, but that's just how MOBA games have been since the beginning. But yeah, it is a MOBA. The setting I think is really cool. It's like this, I don't know how to describe it. It looks like TF2 architecture almost, but like a city, like a city from like the early 1900s, I'd say. And it takes place in the city. What's cool about it is obviously you're on the ground and stuff, but there is like rooftops you can get on top to, like maybe 2 stories up or maybe 3 stories up. But what I like about this is during the matches I've seen, everyone is like not on the top or not on the bottom. People are just kind of scattered everywhere. And the map's designed in a really smart way to keep it kind of laid out like that. There's some like jump pads you can use to take you up some places, but some characters' mobilities isn't as good as other characters, so that is a factor too. But yeah, it's a MOBA. The whole point is to get into the enemy's base and destroy it, and that's how you win every time. There are lanes like a MOBA, in MOBAs there was like top, bottom, and middle lane. This one, there's like 4 lanes, and they're divided by colors. So there's like a yellow line, a blue line, a purple line, and I think an orange line, and that's the lanes. But what's cool about it is there are these hooks that you can ride on through, like Bioshock Infinite, if you remember. You can
the skyhook
onto that stuff, and the skyhook that is in this game. You can use these skyhooks to get through the lanes much quicker instead of having to run all the way there. And also on the skyhooks, you can use a boost to get there really fast. So like, let's say someone's needs some help in an area, you can boost over there really quick to get there fast, but it has a really long cooldown, so you got to be very careful about when you use it. There's a bunch of characters. I haven't played as like nearly as all of them. What's smart is at the beginning, they kind of tell you which ones are the easiest to play as or good for beginners. So I checked out some of them. One of them I really liked. I don't know if she's a beginner character, but she's like, she kind of reminds me of like Cruella de Vil almost. She has like a green dress on. She's like the white hair. She has like a cool little revolver for her gun. But her whole shtick is like her abilities damage her. So if you use an ability, she'll lose health and stuff like that. She can like throw knives at someone to cause a bleed, but it'll hurt her. She can throw a bomb, but it'll hurt her. But one of her other abilities is like a life drain. So you can suck the life from another character to you, which is really fun. And her ultimate's a really cool ability where you can swap health with an enemy player. So like, if you're going down really hard, you can just swap it with someone that has a lot of health, and they'll be really low in health, but you'll be right back up there. So that's really fun.
It's a Captain Ginyu move.
Yeah, exactly. Totally Captain Ginyu move. I played as this one guy. He looked like a Bobby from like, England cops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He one of his abilities, he kind of like focused on, he like put like an aura where he'd run a little faster, I think, and have more defense. He seemed like a character that excelled a little bit closer up. Definitely characters seem to be better for like closer range, further back, and maybe some that can support a little bit. Not like full on like you're stuck as a healer character, but who can do a couple heals out there with you. Because like in most MOBAs, you have creeps running around side you and they're fighting for stuff like that. And the creeps that run by, they're these little cute little robots, and they some of them can heal you, which is really nice. So if you're low in health, you can just kind of hang back by them. Also, when you get gold throughout the game, you collect gold by killing people. And also when you kill someone, what's a cool idea I like a lot is you kill something, you get the gold from killing them, which is great. But they also put out these like little clouds above them, either green if you kill them or red if the enemy kills them. And you could deny them these orbs, which give money. So like, let's say an enemy kills one of your units and the orbs are going up. If you shoot them fast enough, you can get the money for it instead of the enemy.
Oh, that's dope.
So it's like creep denying like MOBAs, which I always appreciate.
That's like a twist on almost like kill confirmed in some way.
Yeah.
That's actually a dope idea.
So if you're like observant, you can kind of like rack up a lot more money and prevent the enemy team from getting more than they should be getting. Also on the map, there's shops. You can go buy it. MOBAs always have shops. But what I like about this here is right when you get into a shop, it's like recommended stuff for your character. Recommended for early game, mid game, and late game. Like recommended stuff already built for you. However, if you go over a couple tabs, you can do everything you want by yourself. You want to just do it that way. But I appreciate it as someone who's learning the game that they're just like, here, you can just do this stuff. This stuff's pretty good so far. So all that's been really fun. I'm trying to think of this other character I played as. She was like, I don't even know what the fuck. She looked like a robot kind of thing, but she had like 2 like pistols that are like machine guns essentially. And the longer you would fire on someone, I think her damage and fire speed would go up. So it really focuses you like really focusing on one target. Her ultimate ability, I remember, was just like Reapers from Overwatch, where she just shoots all around her. So that was pretty fun. But I've only played like 4 games. I played with Ben and I had a really good time. I definitely need to play more to get a better grasp of the game because I still don't understand everything quite yet, but
yeah,
I've been having a lot of fun playing it. More than I thought I would, because MOBAs, I'm not so hot on MOBAs as they are traditionally, I guess, but a MOBA where you're like shooting or something like a third-person shooter, I can get like way more into. So yeah, I think it's a sick game. I don't know what's coming out. Like, how you play it is you have to get invited to it. Like, you can invite friends to the thing. Like, I invited Chris to play it. So I don't know when it's going to go like public or anything like that, but I think it has a pretty strong core. And of course, they said the art design and all that stuff's not final. So there's still a ways to go, I feel like, on this game. But I think it's a really good start and very interesting. And I definitely want to play more, and I can't wait to see what they see more what they do.
Yeah.
Micah. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, like, right before we move on, just like I'm looking at the roster of characters, and it's hysterical how much better it is.
Yeah, it's night and day
than Concord.
Yeah.
It's like unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like way better. Micah, do you have any interest in a game like this? I know you like multiplayer shooters.
I do, but you put in the word MOBA, and I suddenly feel like a confused old person. And this is one of those things, it doesn't matter how many times it's been explained to me. It's like when your mom asks like the football rules during the game. Every season, mom is like, what's 4th down meme? And you tell her. And this is me every time the word MOBA comes up. And it's like, I can't define it in my brain as to like what makes that different from other online shooters. But it scares me away because I've never played one and I don't understand it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now's a good time to play it because everyone's just fucking learning the game. Everything's just chaos. So you don't have to worry about getting yelled at by anyone or whatever. But it's cool. This one other character I played as, I remember she has like a Tommy gun or stuff like that. She looks like a Zoot Suit kind of woman. She's got like a Tommy gun. One of her abilities is she can throw cards at someone to deal damage. She has like this cool teleport ability to like get out of danger and stuff like that. One of her abilities is just increases her rate of fire by like a ton. So that's awesome. So yeah, a lot of the characters are cool. There's like an engineering one that Ben was playing where you could like throw down some heal stuff for people like that. Seems really cool. I like the roster so far. I still need to play as a lot of characters to get a better feel of them, but a lot of them seem really cool. There's like this sniper character like that can like kind of fly around really high up and just pick people off, which seems really fun. So yeah, definitely want to get more time with the game, and I will be soon. All right. Micah, Oregon Trail.
Yes.
You've been playing this for a while, but you've made it. The party survived.
Yeah, I've done a few runs now to Oregon. I had, my LSM, co-hosts along for the ride. Some of you fared better than others. This game is so fun. Like, I did not grow up playing Oregon Trail. So when I saw that this was coming to Switch, I said, that's perfect because I've never played this and I'm really excited for it. And they have added quite a bit. The game has different mission types to choose from. So you have the classic trip to Oregon. There are also some smaller missions, like there is a gold rush trip to California, and you're trying to collect gold along the way. There's a trip that you take with a fur trader, and you're trying to hunt as many pelts as you can on the way to that destination. There's one mission I really like because it's completely unique in that you are stranded in the desert with a set number of survivors, and you need to leverage them to search for resources. So do you send out 5 people on a search party to, you send them out every day. Are you going to send them out for food, medicine, or clothing? Which resource do you need right now? You're also leveraging the fact that the survivors can die when they go search for things. That one's really tense and it's just very unique compared to the other missions that are available. They also have different difficulties. The game has 3 difficulty modes. You've got Sightseer, which is, think of Minecraft peaceful mode. You're just kind of along for the ride. Adventurer is what I feel like maybe would be the classic difficulty. Your party is going to encounter some hardships. And then Wagon Leader is definitely the hard mode of the game. And that's the one that I did with our LSM hosts. I did 2 different runs of that because the first party perished. Nobody made it to Oregon. The second time we did get there, but I like the difficulty options, and I do feel like Wagon Leader, has earned its name. It's a delightful level of challenge. It's not so challenging that it feels unfair. It's not so challenging that it just feels like they're constantly ragging on you, but it definitely ups the ante if you start with Adventurer and then play that. Nice. Side missions also serve the purpose of unlocking items and characters. So when you first play the game, you need to do, I believe, just one regular run to get started. And you're limited in your character types that can come along with you. But as you play these various side missions, you unlock the fur trader. And so when you start them in your party, they'll have traps, animal traps with them, right? Or you can unlock the carpenter, and the carpenter will have extra toolboxes for fixing things. So that's part of your strategy, is completing these side missions and unlocking different items that will definitely help you along the way when you go back to the big mission of playing Oregon Trail. It really is just one of those things that they have freshened this up. The graphics look really good. I certainly prefer the pixel art to the Fortnite-esque, areas in the game, but it all looks good. It all looks fine. There's a great mix of choices that need to be made quickly. There's a little timer, going down, and you have to make that choice immediately, versus choices where you can sit a minute and really think, what do I want to do? I really enjoy that kind of mix that they give you. And I'll say, too, that there are so many moments in the game that just had me genuinely laughing out loud. It is a very funny game. It'll just have the most random things happening. It's even more fun if you name them after your friends. Having, Cog get bit by a snake twice. And I'm like, what the hell, man? Stop reaching into weird places. What's going on? It really adds a new layer of fun to name the characters after your friends and just have them see what misadventures they all get into. At one point, Chris slipped and fell on some wet leaves and he hit his head on the wagon. And I was like, come on, man. What are you doing? It really adds just a great layer of fun to name it after people in your life. I'll say something that's lacking in the game is that it still is an educational game, and that's what it wanted to be. But you go to talk to some of the NPCs in town, for example, and it's just boring. It's just oh, this rock was founded in 1750. It's who gives a fuck? It's not. So there's a lot of fun stuff in there. But then the educational heartbeat of the game is very much still there. And that stuff's just boring. I learned very quickly, when you get to a new town, don't talk to someone unless they have a mission marker next to them, because it's just boring. Because I'm not 10 years old and learning about the USA. It's just not very fun. But otherwise, there's just so much to this game, way more than I expected. And I'm looking at my playtime and it's I can't believe it. Wow, I spent 10 hours playing this. Wow, I spent 12 hours playing this. It's just so good. It went by in a flash. And it's a game I will definitely revisit. Would be a perfect airplane game, for example, to just go do a run through Oregon. I'm having so much fun with it. I'm taking a break with it now just because I had to tear myself away to play other things. But it's just so good.
How long does a run usually take?
Maybe a couple hours. So the actual trip to Oregon is the longest trip you'll do. Maybe that would take 2-3 hours. It kind of depends on how you play. If you're going to sit there and think a while about certain decisions and stuff like that. But I'd say 2 to 3 hours would be normal for a trip to Oregon.
Okay, cool. Let's see here. Eric the Human wrote in, "Sup, Summon Sisters. So I have never once in my life had any desire to check out Oregon Trail and was perfectly okay with writing it off completely. But after witnessing Micah's chronicle of LSM family journeys to Oregon on Twitter, I'm heavily considering getting this game. Is it really as exhilarating as it seems, or is Micah just making it seem that way with her quirky retellings? P.S. Chris, check out the album Like Clockwork by Queens of the Stone Age. And get Brad on Shark Tank already, you coward.
That would be a bad idea, actually.
Micah.
Like, yeah, I think it's just as fun. When I was tweeting out the little updates, like that was genuinely like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, you know? Or it was like our ox collapsed and I had to go send Ben for help. Like, and I don't know if he's going to come back with help or not. And that really was the moment, like we might all just die. I think the game is genuinely exciting and exhilarating. Of course, it's mostly text based, you know, so if that's not your thing, it might not be as fun. But I drew great enjoyment from watching my little characters go down the road and then bam, somebody slips and falls. Somebody gets hit by the wagon. You know, Maddie got hit by the wagon. Oh my God. Like, and somebody pointed out to me, like on Twitter, like the wagon is the villain here. The wagon is constantly like running people over and all this stuff. And you just never know what might happen. There are some storylines that happen each time you do the run, and then there are other ones that'll pop up. It's like, that's an event I didn't get last time. There's plenty of random things that happen to keep it very interesting. But yeah, I would classify the game as very exciting. It's not just how I'm tweeting about it. It is like, those are my reactions of, I can't believe this happened. And it was just, I never got mad at the game either. And I think that's very important. Nice. There's not a feeling like it's dramatically unfair. Sometimes you're like, oh man, like I can't believe that happened. But I never really felt mad at the game. I was perfectly content to just keep rolling with the punches and whatever happened. So that's another key thing, is that I didn't find it to be a frustrating experience. Despite the many hardships and things that would happen to us, it was still just fun all the way through.
Hell yeah. This is from Third Shift Weirdo. Hey there, Summoners. I am very much enjoying your Oregon Trail updates. Oh, the misadventures the Last Stand family has had in the game. Also, keep unleashing your extraordinary views for the audience to enjoy or argue about. This is all for you, directed at you, by the way, Micah. They are the highlight of any podcast you are on, and I love you for it, even if you are not a Muppet fan. Smiley face. Love the show, and be well, everyone. Everyone is enjoying your Oregon Trail adventures, Micah, on social media. Everyone enjoyed that shit.
Yeah, and I'll definitely do another one in the future, because I feel bad that Brad's party didn't make it.
Darkest Dungeon 2 run.
God, I don't think I can handle that. But I do feel bad that Brad's party never made it there. We felt real bad when Gene died.
I shit myself to death, didn't I, or something?
No, you froze to death.
Okay.
You poor thing. I misunderstood. Here's what happened in that run, is that I misunderstood the winter mechanic, that when winter hits, you all die. I thought winter would just be more difficult, like, because we were so close to getting there. And I just thought, oh, well, when it's winter, maybe we need more food, or like maybe, you'll know, your health, your hygiene goes down faster or whatever. I didn't know we were all just going to collapse and die. So that was my bad. And you guys didn't make it. I want to do another run and get Brad to Oregon. I feel like Brad deserves it, you know?
Yeah, so Oregon.
Exactly. I probably will do another run with that cast and tweet about it at that time.
All right. Awesome. Okay, let's end the show with some closing questions, as we always do. If you want to send in a question, I post a thread every Saturday for Summon Sign. You guys post your inquiries there, and I'll read them on the show. All right, this is from Alex Jones's glow stick body. Hey, succulent summoners. What's y'all opinion on romance options in games? Do y'all look forward to it or could care less about its inclusion? Personally, when I play Western RPG, it's a big selling point for me. Keep up the great work, guys. All right, who likes the romance? Micah, do you like the romance?
I won't say it's a selling point, but yeah, like Witcher 3 and you're choosing, it's like, okay, do I choose Triss or Yennefer or this Kira Metz, you know, like there's plenty of options. I mean, I don't dislike it. I wouldn't say it's a selling point though. I could really go either way with it being present or not, partly because I enjoy playing like romance visual novels. And so those are like dedicated romance games. So I don't really need it to be present in other games that I'm playing. but it does add a nice, different texture to the story. Like Witcher 3 especially, depending on who you choose, it plays out very differently.
Yeah, definitely. It's a nice little bonus, I think. Not necessarily required, but if it's there, I'm down. Sure, I appreciate it. What about you, Chris?
Yeah,
that's a no.
I just like, because when I don't even really like, to be honest, like when I play RPGs, I don't even really like companions generally. Like when I'm in an RPG, I like being like a loner, like with like a dog or something, or like a robot maximum. You know what I mean? Like I think the only RPG that I really liked the companions in, or that I wanted to spend more time with the companions in, was probably like Baldur's Gate or Mass Effect. You know what I mean? Like those were the only games where I felt like they nailed, or they got like companions right. And it's kind of like an extension of the romance options, where it's just like, I don't know, like I just kind of want to be left to my own devices in this world and do whatever the fuck I want. And generally, like, I don't know, romance is like, I just don't know what I'm supposed to get out of it, I guess. Like what do I get out of this?
Joy.
I don't know if I get, I don't know if I feel it, because I remember I got married in like Starfield or something, just because like I was just curious as to how that was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And she just nags me. And I can't believe, it's just like, I can't believe this is happening. I'm playing a video game. Why would I seek this experience out?
It's just like real life.
Yeah, I send her home so I can go have fun. It's like, what was the point of being married then? It's like, it's just so, I don't know. It just feels a little bit silly. I think there is a point maybe in the future where like maybe we can get a little bit more, I don't know, granular with it, a little bit more realistic with it, where it doesn't feel so disjointed and kind of like stapled onto it. I do think it works a little bit better with like games that are about somebody. You know what I mean? Like if it's like Witcher, I think does a good job of it because it's Geralt. You know what I mean? Or other games like with it, I think do fine. I just think like when it's me and it's like my own character.
I see.
I don't want to be held down, man.
Yeah, not when it's Chris.
Not when it's me.
But did you like it when you were playing as Cloud in Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah, like that's more appealing to me, because it's more like I'm guiding an existing character through choices, as opposed to like, if it's just me, I'm picking nobody because I don't want to be here. Yeah. I wouldn't be here if it was me. I would. They would have been like, oh, Sephiroth is attacking fucking this city or whatever. I was like, cool. I didn't grow up here, so like I don't care about what's going on here, quite frankly. Like, that's up to you. But if it's a character's journey, if it's a character story and they have romance options, that's a lot more intriguing to me. That's a lot more interesting to me. I'm more likely to care.
Okay.
Even in something like, I feel like I remember getting married in Fable 2, I think, and you could just be an absolute bastard to your wife, which I thought was hilarious. Like you could just cheat or something. Like there was some bullshit that you could do in that game that I remember being like, I can't believe this is just part of this game. You could just be an asshole husband. But yeah, I don't know. Generally, it doesn't land with me. But it works in like Cyberpunk and stuff like that. Sure. Where it's like, okay, V is a character. Like they have a history here.
Pan Am.
It works. Yeah, Pan Am. Judy.
All good. All good. I know Cog's into relationships in Western RPGs. I didn't know this, but he always boasts about it. He must be a romantic kind of guy. I don't know, though. I'll have to ask him about that next time. All right. This is from Jimmy Hopkins. Hey, Summoners, what is a game that no matter what people say, you will never believe they actually like it? For example, I will never believe anyone actually likes Undertale, no matter how much they praise it. I don't care how it reviewed or if someone absolutely loves it. They're just being pretentious, and we all know it. Undertale is not a good game at all.
I kind of like Undertale.
Me too. Undertale's a cool game.
Yeah, I don't think it's like amazing. I don't think it's like game of the year or anything, but.
Right.
I like Undertale. The thing that comes to mind immediately, like, I'm so scared of what the reaction to this is going to be. But like, I really don't. I don't understand Sonic at all. Like I don't get it. Like I have never felt even just like a modicum of joy playing a Sonic game.
Not at all.
No,
None?
no, because it's that sounded so genuinely concerned. It's just like, look, I like. On paper, I should really like it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I like 2D platformers. I like, speed and going fast. I like retro. But then, like, you combine those all into this game, and I find it so deeply loathsome. Like, I don't know. I think it's because, like, when I think about speed, I think about like racing games or like things where it's like there's a sense of speed throughout the level because you can see it gradually like and organically building in front of you. Like you're receiving new information about what lies ahead of you in a way that you would. But in Sonic, it's like it's a game all about going fast, but you can't see the next screen. Mm-hmm. So you're either bumping into shit that you didn't see coming because there would be no way to see it coming, or you're going really, really fast because the game just wants you to go fast, and it's kind of putting you on this trajectory of like, oh, it's like it's a loop, and then it's a jump, and then that jump's going to put you pixel perfect onto this jump pad, and then that's going to put you down into another loop, and it's like, this is on rails at this point. So it's like, I don't know. I don't really get the sensation of speed that people are talking about when they talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't really get the sensation. I don't get the feeling of like solving a complicated platforming problem because it doesn't really feel like there's enough time for that stuff to build. So I don't know. Just Sonic, just as a pure premise, just doesn't. It falls completely flat for me in every way to the point where I just really can't. I can't fathom it. Like I've had people explain it to me, and I understand it in the same way that like I understand that fish can't smile. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, okay, but like that doesn't. I can, it doesn't change anything about me or my life. So,
dude,
I can't do it.
The only way we can get you to understand is to strap you in a chair like Clockwork Orange and make you watch it or play with your eyelids strapped open or something like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Chris, you are a Christorian. You like Chris Chan stuff a lot.
I do think that probably doesn't help, to be honest with you.
It probably doesn't help. I was wondering about that as well. Might have turned you off in some regards.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't think the possibility of that is not zero. Because I did play it when I was a kid, and I don't know, like
yeah.
I had more fun with fucking Bubsy than I did with Sonic.
Oh my god, that's heinous, Chris.
And you didn't like taking care of the chows? You didn't like taking care of the little chows in their garden? That didn't bring you any joy?
Oh, is that that's Sonic Adventure, right?
Yeah, the best one. It's the one with the Halloween wrap. It's very good.
No, that's Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh, well, I like them both then. They're both very good.
Connected.
That's another thing. That's another thing too. It's like I don't. Anybody tells me it's like, oh, this game really translates well to 3D. No, it doesn't. Like you're not telling the truth. I appreciate the conviction by which you're lying, but like no, like
you didn't like Rouge the Bat. You didn't like that at all.
No. Rouge is upsetting to look at, and I don't know, man. It does not work for me. I don't know what it is about it necessarily. It might be the Chris Chan connection. It might be a number of things, but
listen, a lot of Sonic fans have really ruined that series and that character. They're very perverted, disgusting shit out there. So I don't blame you, Chris.
My favorite video. Have I ever showed this to you, Micah? The video of this guy. He's making like a top 10. It's a top 10 list of like the hottest Sonic characters.
Oh, no.
And it is such a classic. I adore that video because it's authentic, like it's real. It's like from a long time ago, so it's not like it's pre-irony poisoning, right? Where like people were just doing things for the bit. Like you could tell it's like he really put a lot of like thought into this.
Oh god.
And he starts it off where he starts it off with a video of him running down the street and it's like sped up. And he goes, without further ado, here we go. And it's like, oh man, it's so good. It's such pure cringe. I miss that when things were like, I miss when things were cringe, but like, I don't know, like
wholesome,
endearing.
Cringe?
Yeah, there's like an endearing, like kind of like, oh, he genuinely doesn't think this is a weird thing to be making.
Yeah, the sincerity of it.
Yeah,
like you really
exactly.
put Eggman on the list. You know, you really did.
Classic video.
Yeah, I'm like looking at this shit. Man, I shouldn't have searched for that.
Oh yeah, you
search history. Fuck. Gotta delete that or something.
It's over.
Yeah, dude. All right, let's see. Where were we at? Oh, wait. What's something that I don't believe anyone likes? Oh, dude, like any of those games like Volcano High or Dustborn or whatever. It's like,
no.
I don't believe you. None of you like this. You're all perverts. I understand that, but no. No one actually likes those games and thinks they're good. Stop it. Stop pretending. If I have to see another fucking game where it's like teenagers growing up or some shit like that, it's like, fuck's sakes, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll play Life is Strange 2, though.
Life is Strange?
Yeah, I'll play the second one. Or the new one coming out. I actually liked the first one.
I really don't hate Life is Strange. Like, Life is Strange is easy to like kind of like I make jokes about it a lot, but like it's competent for what it is. It's like I think about it as like visual novels, right? But like Dustborn, no.
No,
Dustborn is like that's like one of the worst things I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
In a video game. Like I really could not. And the thing that was really offensive to me about that was it wasn't even like the political angle. To me, the thing that really offended me was that like this is a band that's like trying to be a punk band and then the mixing is fucked. Like it's just a terrible song.
Yeah,
it's just a terrible song. Like if you're gonna make a game like this, at least make banger music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta have good music in there if you're gonna have a music game. Yeah,
unbelievable,
fucking terrible, horrible.
But Micah, here you go. Save this to your watch later.
Oh, definitely. I'm gonna be watching that as soon as we're done here.
Watch it with Colin, please.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
It's worth it.
Jesus. All right. This is from Izzy Smalls. Hey, Summon Squad. What is a game that you were a fan of, but you never hear anyone ever talk about? Mine is The Suffering. Loved this game back in the day, an action horror game set in a prison. It was even successful enough to get a sequel, but I literally never hear it brought up on many podcasts I listen to or on Twitter. Love the show and much love to Dustin and Holly. All right. Game we're a fan of that no one ever talks about.
I mean, you know what the answer is, Bradley. You know what my answer is. I bring it up.
Oregon Trail?
Oh, Brad. No, it's got to be 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD for the 3DS. My all-time favorite 3DS game.
Yeah, I forgot that.
I bring it up as often as I can. I've never heard anyone else mention it.
Yeah, I've never heard of that game until you.
I've been accused of making the name up. People think it's just a bit, and then they Google it and realize it's real. I've never once been able to talk to anyone about the ending of the game, which had me crying for over a week after I beat it. I would just think about it and start crying. I've never been able to actually talk to anyone about it, though, because they've never played it. So that is my infinite sorrow.
Sorrow.
Infinite sorrow.
That's my favorite Naruto arc. Yeah. Very good.
Man, this is a really good question. So there were things that I was led to believe were, well, not, I don't want to say niche because that's like, that's not really true. But the games that I would talk to a lot of people about, like nobody cared about. And then I found out that like, oh, they were getting like remasters and stuff. You know what I mean? Like Crash Team Racing was one that I was always like a big, and everybody was like, I don't know what the fuck that is. What is it, like a Mario Kart clone? It's like, it's better. But I think the one that comes to mind when I think of just like a one that I remember really liking, that I haven't really heard much about, Hunter the Reckoning.
Oh,
which was
I never played that, but I know what you're talking about.
Hunter the Reckoning was like this kind of like it was like a Marvel Ultimate Alliance looking kind of zombie like horror game. It was more serious than Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, but like if I remember correctly, like the camera was like isometric and you took control of these characters, and one of them I remember had a crossbow, and I remember on the original Xbox it had some crazy cool what do you call it? Like really really interesting visuals for the time. Like it was like kind of impressive. But yeah, everything else I feel like there's also there's a Duke Nukem game that I really like that is there's no shot that it's good, but like I remember as a kid liking it. It was called Duke Nukem Land of the Babes.
Duke Nukem Land of the Babes, dude. Ben Smith, if he was here, he'd be pumped.
Which is like the most 7-8-year-old boy video game you could possibly imagine. It was just like you were just saving half-naked women from these like giant rat monsters, and that was like the whole point. But I remember there's no way that holds up, but like I remember as a kid being like,
this looks like shit.
It's absolute dog shit. But like at the time, as like a child, I remember being like, this feels so cool.
Yeah. Dude, Duke Nukem 3D though. That was a sick game.
Yeah.
I remember actually a good game.
I remember a weird thing about that game was like there was a RPG in it, and it was how I first learned what an RPG was. And it was weird because it was like this it was like a over the head mounted thing. Like it was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like a missile pod that you just like put over your head and you held with two arms. And I was like, oh, I guess that's what an RPG is. And then when I saw RPGs in every other game, I was like, why did they get it so wrong in Duke Nukem Land of the Babes for the PS1?
Fucked it up, dude.
But Hunt of the Reckoning is the one that I remember. I have like a lot of fond memories of that. I don't know. I don't see it brought up on a lot of like nostalgia things. I don't see like, you ever peruse YouTube and you just see like a video about like an obscure game. I don't see it brought up really ever. So that's
Land of the Babes. Can't say it yet that I have. Yeah, most Duke Nukem things I see and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I usually don't watch it or something like that. So
I was talking about Hunt of the Reckoning. But like, yeah, it does not surprise me that Land of the Babes is not brought up at all.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. One game I think of was a PS1 VR game. Actually, it was called Ghost Giant, and I liked it because you were like literally a giant ghost in it, and you were in like little dioramas of these like animal village where these animals lived. And as you play the game, it's all very jolly, but as you keep playing, the story starts to get darker and darker and sadder and sadder. And I was just like, after I beat it, I was just like, what the fuck, dude? I did not expect this from this game, but I still really enjoyed it. Cute game, but kind of depressing at the same time. Just like, man, PSVR 1, what a relic now that thing is.
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy. Also, the one thing that came up that I just remembered, Boneworks. It's a VR game.
Boneworks, that was the VR game, right?
Dude, Boneworks is so fucking cool. Like that was like the first time that I remember being like, oh, VR is amazing. Actually, like it blew my mind because it's all physics based. It's all just like, beat somebody up, throw them in a locker, close the locker, like lock the locker closed with like a crowbar in the handle, and then they can't get. And it's just like, this is exactly what I want out of VR, dude. Like this is perfect. And I know Half-Life Alyx gets a lot of credit for sure. It deserves it. It's probably like the most AAA VR game we'll ever get, probably. But Boneworks that's some perfect jank.
Have you played Resident Evil 4 Remake on your VR?
No, not yet. I've been curious. I played Resident Evil 4, the original, in VR. Like there was like a VR version of that. Yeah, on Oculus, and I remember really liking that. Just like, dude, you can't beat VR like shooting a gun and like cocking it back and then like unloading it and like reloading.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It is so goddamn satisfying. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
but yeah,
dude, Resident Evil 4 had the knife in one hand, the gun in the other, dude, stabbing a guy and shooting a different one at the same time. It's just like, that's the kind of shit I love in VR. You can't do that in anything else, dude. It's awesome.
It's so cool. Yeah, so I definitely gotta check out 4 in VR because
man,
seems great.
All right, final question. This is from Genesis Point. Hi, Micah and boys. Just a quick warm up question. Well, this is the end of the show. What are your preferred archetypes in games? Smashing as a dumb but strong fighter, stealthy assassin, or an elemental throwing magic user? What's your favorite and least favorite to play as? Have a no dogs in the vault kind of day. Damn. All right, character archetypes. What do we like? Warrior.
I gravitate.
Assassin, mage.
I'm definitely like a stealth, like assassin, like ranged kind of like I remember, I mean, before we knew what Destiny was and we only had like some brief like descriptions, I remember being excited to kind of like role play a kind of like a sniper or like in the crow's nest kind of like a ranger type character, pick things off from afar, but it's usually like that, like ranged or stealth, like takedown stuff. I love stealth games, love me some Hitman, Splinter Cell, and yeah, that's generally where I go. I think the Brute is probably like my least favorite though, like the unless it's like Kratos or something, you know, but I don't love the me big strong punch hard kind of archetype. It's not barbarian, I guess is what you would call it.
Sure.
But yeah.
Micah, what about you?
Yeah, I'm with Chris that I generally don't like those types of characters either. Like, oh, you know, big, stupid, strong guy. No, I want somebody competent. All right, somebody who's good at what they do. I hate stealth though. So like, no, assassin, no. Magic user, absolutely. All right, somebody like Geralt, you know, he can do a couple quick little spells and use a sword. That's like perfect. But I love magic users in games. You know, the sorceress character, but don't be mean to me. I cannot stand, like, I like villains, but I don't like people that are just mean for no reason. Like Yennefer, why are you being so mean to me? Like, this is why I dated Triss instead. You're just rude. And it's not, she's not like she is in the books, you know? It's just like, you're just mean to me. Why would I date you in the first place? Like, why can't you just be cool about this? I can't stand that type of character either, who's just like mean for no reason. It's like, can we just be civil? I hate the mean scientist. Like, that's my least favorite character in games. It's like, dude, like, I know we usually ignore everything you say and it's our fault that the world's about to blow up, but like, can you just chill out about it? So I know that's not what they asked for, but that's my least favorite. And my most favorite would be some sort of mage.
Cool. When I was younger, I definitely always picked like fighter, sword, shield, tank. That's my kind of shit. As I got older, I definitely started to like stealthy characters way more, and that's usually my preferred thing. But sometimes magic's fun too. It depends on the game or whatever, if the magic I think is really cool or not. If I would use it. But yeah, I like being the dumb characters. Like, I wish so bad I could be a Krogan in fucking Mass Effect. I need to be able to be a Krogan in the next Mass Effect, please.
Yeah, I don't mind it for like subsequent play, but my initial playthrough of any new experience is usually always like that, like an agile kind of stealth.
Sure.
Like I'm more mobility oriented. Like I want to be able to like get where I need to go, even if I'm like a lot weaker.
Pick a lock, something like that.
Yeah, pick a lock, sneak through a vent. Dude, like sneaking through vents, man. Like, I don't know, something cozy. I love that.
Something cozy, yeah. Solid Snake, Sam Fisher, all that good stuff. All right. That's it. We're done, everybody. Another episode in the books. Thank you for joining me, both of you. Appreciate it. Before we go, would you guys like to say anything? Any final words? Or should we just get out of here?
I just want to say I got a chicken quesadilla in the fridge that I'm going to go heat up. And Chris, it's going to be delicious. It's going to be the best quesadilla you've ever seen. Little Baron would love it. Oh, he loves his quesadillas. He loves them so much.
You've been saving that for like 2 hours.
So she wrote it down probably. She has like a little notepad where she's like, remember the quesadilla.
Yeah.
Okay, but funny, I have done that. I didn't have to do that today because I'm going to go eat that quesadilla. But I have done that before of like, for like closing bit. I do sometimes write those down like mid show because it's like, oh, we got to call back to that. Absolutely.
That's smart. I got my chicken parm. I'm going to heat up. I'm excited.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Excellent. All right, cool. We're all done then. Thank you everybody for watching, listening. Appreciate it. We'll see you next episode. Take care, everybody. Goodbye. Summon Sign is a product of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is written and hosted by me, Brad Ellis. The show is produced by Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. Summon Sign, along with the rest of Last Stand's media shows, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we are grateful for your kind contribution and generosity to our independent endeavor. Thank you.